sleep. We all do it. I hope. If you're not doing it, that's maybe a more serious problem. But I'm assuming you sleep. And what if you could give back while you slept? That's right. That's now possible with Leesa. They've got an innovative direct-to-consumer online mattress, and it's also socially conscious. They're driven by the mission to provide a better place to sleep for everybody, which means for every 10 mattresses they sell, they donate one to a shelter through their 110 program. They also plant a tree for every mattress sold, and they donate 1% of every employee's time to volunteer for local causes. They've got a 100% American-made mattress. It's available online in the US, UK, Canada, and Germany, and it ships compressed in a box right to your door. You just crack open that box and poof, there's a bed in there. It's crazy. Or, if you're in New York City, you can go to the Leesa Dream Gallery and see it for yourself. Try a Leesa mattress in your own home for 100 nights risk-free with free shipping, always. And get $100 off when you go to leesa.com/bombcast. That's leesa.com/bombcast.
Live from smoky Northern California, it's Tuesday, October the 10th,
Hello.
2017. This is
Yes.
the Giant Bombcast.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
It smells like smoke in the Bombcast studio.
It sure does.
Yeah, I came in to this office specifically to get away from the smoke.
Yeah?
So
Yeah.
I'm pretty fucking bummed out.
Yeah.
Is it? It's got to be worse over where you're at, though.
Yeah, up north, I'm in the middle of the fire zone. Kind of, there's a new fire as of yesterday, that's slightly east of me. Hello, and there's a up north is it's been devastating for people who haven't heard. It's,
Disaster zone.
Yeah, it is state of emergency.
Yeah.
in
Over
California.
100,000 acres.
Yeah, over 1,500 structures.
Not your average forest fire.
No,
Not-
no.
I mean, I'm sure it started as a seasonal.
Yeah.
Fires are natural to a limited degree. Every year.
It's very dry.
But it has gotten away from itself.
Definitely.
Like
yeah.
people losing houses left and right.
Absolutely.
Stuff like
Whole
that.
neighborhoods going up
Yeah,
in
like
smoke.
God, man,
Yeah.
some of the shots on the news last night were just like
Yes.
Like a nuclear bomb.
it was exactly
went
the
off,
thing.
you know?
I think was it in our production meeting yesterday. You were talking about how like one side of the street will be utterly burned out and the other side is like totally normal. Like they were like panning across blocks where like one side of the street was just gone.
Well, you've got like the fire that is spreading naturally as a fire does, and then that's there. Also, you had a high wind situation, so you would have embers coming off of that fire and then just randomly dropping into a neighborhood, and then that whole block is gone.
Yeah.
And then that fire oftentimes doesn't jump the street to get houses on the other side of the street, so you just have this like contained, somewhat contained in a manner of speaking,
Like
just
one block.
one block just gone. And that's happening in Santa Rosa, which is about 10-15 miles north of where I live, and so that kind of crept around. There's another fire in Napa, which is kind of northeast of where I'm at.
And they were just hit with like an earthquake not too terribly long ago.
There was an earthquake like this morning.
Right.
Yeah,
Was there another
like
one
a minor
today?
one? Yeah,
There was
one.
a
Jesus.
4.1
in
in
Kenwood.
like 4.1.
Yeah,
close-
one in San Jose.
close to San Jose
yesterday, and then today there was a little one.
Not a good time in NorCal.
No.
No.
So yeah, it's I spent a lot of the day yesterday just kind of like staring at the news and being very frustrated by the reporting, and kind of trying to like this sense of like hopeless, like
Were they
helplessness.
taking it like super serious, or were they like, oh, by the
It's-
way,
I mean,
it's
California's burning?
my impression of it down here is that it was kind of like vague disaster porn.
Yeah,
As opposed to, I would imagine somebody in your position that wants to know, like,
I want
street by
tactical
street
information
Yeah.
about
you
what
want to
the
know, like,
fuck is happening.
Like, all right, am I in a zone where I need to go? Is my house going to burn?
And it was very much, and obviously, it felt like they were covering it for people who didn't live there.
That's exactly how it
and
was for me.
Yeah, it had a real vibe of like, and the streets are literally on fire. Just like very like big picture-y, like this Trader Joe's is gone, and like obviously that stuff's terrible. I don't want to like,
Well,
you know, I don't want to like undercut that, obviously, but there's a certain element of like, I need to know, like I've got a bag packed, like I've got a bag here with me, you know, like because I didn't have time to unpack I didn't think it was prudent to unpack the bag yet.
Yeah.
Because there's still, you know, these fires are not contained.
Yeah, like one of the scariest parts about it is something like 100,000 people had no power,
Right.
like my parents included, and so they didn't know.
how do they get their news, right?
Yeah, exactly. They were just sitting in the car, listening to the car radio,
Jesus.
like waiting for updates of if they had to evacuate or not.
Yeah, I
and
signed
following
up.
like Twitter accounts, but
Right.
who knows how reliable that information
Exactly.
is.
Like I got to a point last night where I'm just like Google, like Twitter searching the word Petaluma to see what the fuck it says, and it's just people going like, "What's going on there?" I'm like, that's not helpful.
Your parents did have to evac, didn't they?
Yep, they're out, like, and they have no word on whether or not the house is safe, when they can come back. I mean, firefighters are saying it can take weeks to fully combat these fires.
Yeah, it was kind of it was a perfect weather setting for this fire to be as bad as it was, like in terms of just like humidity and wind and stuff like that. And now today, that wind has died down a lot. And also the new system moved in with a little more humidity. So today is the day that they really get to start fighting in earnest.
The wind is dying down.
Yeah.
Like
Yesterday, so the fire started like in the early hours of yesterday. And so they couldn't even start flying planes over it and dropping stuff on it until like noon or 1 because there just was no visibility.
did you see that thing they had to put out that was like, stop flying drones?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a lot. Yeah.
A lot of considerations.
Yeah, they can't fly stuff if there's a bunch of other shit in the air. What a fucking dumb problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just the spread of information. Like you realize, like, you know, for not that any of the old ways of spreading information were like infallible or anything, but like now that stuff is splintered even more. Like you used to be able to count on like, well, people have a landline, people probably own a radio. And people have, you know, some kind of over the air or cable television or something like that, and now you can't even count on that. And then the internet,
Certainly not smoke signals.
right? Exactly. Yeah, that's totally ineffective.
Yep.
Right now. And so you don't know who has what. You don't know how. Like, there's no good single clear way to get the information out there, and that's why a lot of the reporting was so frustrating because I was approaching it like trying to get like an update on like where does stuff stand, and you'd get like once an hour they would say like, and the fire's basically uncontained anyway, here's more pictures of the destruction. and yeah, man, it's just so so here's the chain of events. Here's how information travels 2017 style. I got a message on Discord from Danica from Waypoint saying
In New York.
yeah, she's from the same area,
Okay.
but is in New York currently, and heard that a friend of hers that was in the same area had just gotten a knock on their door to get evacuated. And that's way closer than, and so that was like, I was looking at it going like, oh, this seems like it's not going to get to, you know, this is maybe not going to hit Petaluma, all this other stuff. And that was suddenly like, hey, there's someone here on the outskirts of Petaluma that is literally getting told to evacuate. It's like, okay, this changes everything. Like, what the fuck's going on? And so you spend a lot of time trying to run that down and figure it out. Turns out a new fire had kind of sprouted east of town in some brush out there. And then, but there's very little information about that sort of stuff. You go to Facebook, you find little bits and pieces of this and that, of people frantically trying to like figure out what's going on, but also trying to share whatever they've heard, whether it's accurate or not. It turns out that someone had gone around this, whatever this area was, and knocked on doors and told people to evacuate, but it was not the cops.
Wait, what?
So
Who was it?
I don't know. I don't like. So a report went out. Like I signed up for some text message service, and like the Sonoma County Sheriff sent out something like, there are no evacuations in Petaluma. Like reports of this area being evacuated are false.
And you're gonna make it worse for the people who actually want to evacuate.
or we heard that someone was going around and notifying people in this area to evacuate. That is not official.
Please tell me that was not a prank.
Probably not. It was probably some well-meaning person going,
Some-
"There's a fire right there."
We have to go.
We have to go.
Somebody being a little overzealous.
Yeah, but I think that everyone is kind of erring on the side of caution because there's a spot in Santa Rosa where now there's a boil water order.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
For like, hey, if you're
Meaning the water supply has
yes,
been
the water supply's
contaminated.
been
Basically,
contaminated.
everyone on
Jeez.
top of the hill is kind of like trapped on top of the hill with no
Yeah.
way to get water to them.
Yeah. So that quickly blossomed into like, if again you go to some the Facebook group where it's called Santa Rosa Fire, whatever the fuck they called it.
Yeah.
It's just people going like, everyone needs to boil their water. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
they don't. Like, it's these people in this specific area, and many of them hopefully are not going to be there long. But this specific area. So like watching the flow of information and that sort of stuff while trying to figure out like, am I safe? Do I need to get out of here? Is just maddening. Like it's just been crazy. And everyone's well-meaning. There's tons of shelters opened up and all sorts of stuff. Like people losing their homes, losing everything.
Yeah. I mean the photo I've seen circulated most is that like coffee park photo where there's
Yeah.
basically a before and after of a neighborhood and it just looks like a bomb went off.
Yeah.
It's decimated, and two of my best friends from high school lived in that neighborhood. They're just whole neighborhood completely wiped. And like I lost my house in a fire a few months ago, and that was like that small little thing affected so many, like not only our lives but the lives of our family who are worried and tried to send help, and just like it became such a larger thing. I can't imagine like all of the fucking like suffering that's happening because of this. It's completely a shame. And if you're around, if you're in the area, if there's anything you can do to send help, look up. There's like sending water. There's lots of
I
services
think
out
a
there.
lot of the shelters and stuff that are open, like a lot of them have filled up, but there are new ones kind of opening still. And the word I've been seeing is that a lot of them are well stocked with supplies. So there were people that were like, okay, I'm gonna go get 10 things of kitty litter and drive it over here because
Yeah.
you're allowing pets, or I'm bringing water here, or cots, or raised beds, or.
Yeah.
It sounds like that it has shifted into, okay, we've got most immediate needs met, but we're at a point now where like money
Yeah.
is going to be.
I
the
saw
thing.
a lot of people saying the same stuff about the Puerto Rico relief
Right.
efforts.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
that like donating goods, physical stuff, creates logistical issues that
Right.
the people that need the aid may not be able to handle.
Yeah,
and
so
the
money
is
can be
usually
used to
money, yeah.
deploy
Usually
things places.
the most
so,
effective thing.
Yeah, so it's hugely devastating, and then these are neighborhoods, like it's fucking also. Yeah, it's one of the things that tears me like in half about this whole area to begin with. In the best of times, but right now to see it kind of branded as like wine country on fire.
Yeah.
You're just like, no, like okay, yeah, sure. Also, these are like really, some of these neighborhoods are very low income neighborhoods. Like this is not fucking like
Like the top news
Johnny
article when
Winery
you Googled
fucking
it.
billionaire losing a fucking bunch of grapes. Like
Yeah.
that's happening also. But,
The stories
but-
I see circulated a lot are like, oh, the weed farms are burning up.
Yeah.
Haha, that's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's just-
I've seen that exact sentiment from other people who live up there.
yeah, it's
That like having this reduced to some like
it's like fucking it is not super wealthy people. The parts of Santa Rosa that are going up, a lot of those parts are not especially great parts of town. Like there are some poor areas, some lower income areas in there. They're like people are fucking having all of their shit fucking devastated.
Yeah.
So like with that in mind, like I feel currently lucky. Like that we're in relatively good shape. The worst it's been for us has been smoke inhalation.
Yeah.
And it's like if you were standing over a campfire
Yeah.
that had a fan and it was just like blasting into your face, and that's like standing in my house.
yeah.
Going outside is like only somewhat worse and somewhat better in some cases, where it's like, oh, at least there's like a little bit of a breeze and it's a little
Yeah.
cooler. So
I can't imagine how bad it is being like just a handful of miles away from the actual fire. Like it's bad enough down here, which is like an hour away.
It's
Like I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I see a little bit of a haze in here. Like it definitely smells like smoke in here.
I
right now.
can't tell anymore because
Yeah.
of yesterday. Like my eyes, and my throat are just fucking destroyed.
I definitely had like 5 seconds of insane, intense panic waking up this morning to the
Yeah.
smell of smoke. I just
Jeez.
had like a panic attack, and then I was like, oh no, it's fine. It's just all of everything north of me is on fire. My house is not.
It's not your house this time.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
So it's
condolences to
yeah,
people.
Absolutely. There's still a
They're
lot
kind
of
of
people
having their lives destroyed by this.
There are a
thing.
lot of people still missing.
Yeah.
There's they're out there. People are out there getting on this and fighting it and stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, get an emergency preparedness kit
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a universal thing to always come out of these. Like after our fire, we decided we needed one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you always think about it after a disaster.
Just,
Right.
Just about everybody, I guess, is subject to some kind of natural disaster.
Yeah.
Wherever you live, it's good to have stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. There were some people that like woke up 2 a.m. and they had 10 minutes or less to get.
Yeah. So there was
get what
no
they could and go.
There was no warning, like on Sunday, that this was approaching or
No,
anything like that.
the wind was whipping around so quickly that like acres were just going up in minutes. It was just it traveled so fast through some of these areas. Like I saw a meteorologist kind of explaining like how this stuff lined up, just the way the microclimates work, and these passes through between mountains and between hills and stuff, just creating wind flow situations where you get a fire in there. It's just like literally describing it as a blowtorch pointed
like
at
a
Santa
funnel.
Rosa.
Yeah.
That took out some hotels and stuff. Like first it was like a couple hotels, like a high school.
Coles.
I heard the Coles went up. Like there was a Kmart that I think might have already been closed.
I think there's a school for like autistic children.
Yeah. I saw,
Yeah, I
like,
saw a
like,
hospital being evacuated.
Yeah, I saw-
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw- I saw
a couple hospitals.
like saw the ruins of a nursing home on
Yeah.
Facebook, stuff like that. Like, it's
My
just-
dad was in that hospital for like a year.
They just evacuated Oakmont, which is the retirement community where
Right.
my grandpa was at.
Like a handful of trailer parks are just gone. They were around that area. Like it's
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah. So the fire completely not contained. Like they're they're the way they put it is like it's basically 0% containment right now. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right.
But we don't think it's going to get a lot worse.
Right. Or they're not even saying that. Like they're, but you look at it and go like, this doesn't seem like it's spread much over the last 12 hours. Or, there was the Oakmont thing. I think that was the only new thing overnight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I there was a part of me that was just like, I should stay home.
Yeah, I was going to ask if there's anything you can do being there.
But no,
it's
like,
not-
that's the
it's not
thing.
like
What,
you can't,
am I going to hose down my roof and fucking...
you can't sandbag the place like it's a flood or
No,
something. There's
yeah.
really not a whole lot you can do.
So at some point, it was like, well, I already packed this bag full of fucking Cliff Bars and pants and a sealed copy of a rare video game. So, like, let's fucking...
Was it too human?
Yeah, it was my sealed copy. I did buy a sealed copy of Two.
Is that signed copy of Driver 3?
Yeah. No, I
Did you
left
get
that
that?
behind.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Not that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's fucking bad.
Yeah. Bear with us this week, I guess.
Also bad. Forza. No,
in
I don't
case
know.
it gets worse, bear with us.
Yeah.
Don't know what other disruptions may present themselves
Yeah, my
this week.
we are not going to stay in the house tonight.
Really?
Mostly just because the smoke had gotten so bad.
Yeah.
We kind of found an alternate place to stay for a little bit. But
That's the thing with the weird microclimates and like bizarre topology of this area.
Yeah.
Is that like I live a 15-minute drive from here, like maybe 2-3 miles, and
Yeah.
it's like so much different down there than it is
Right.
like
Of course. Yeah.
it's like 10 times worse here in terms of just like smoke and ash
Yeah.
piling up.
And I think
pulling up.
the place we're going to end up for probably the next couple of days here is actually, it might be worse outside, but it's like a better just ventilation system
Yeah.
and sort of
It'll
that
get
sort of
better
stuff.
quicker.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes.
Rough time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, video games?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I guess
Oh, I love this song.
we got to talk about, what do you like about it?
I like the part where it goes.
Like that part? Yeah. So basically the whole thing.
Yeah.
Shadow of War came out.
It did.
Yeah.
Middle Earth Shadow of War Door.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird name.
Yeah,
to me.
it's the whole. I mean,
Like Shadow of Mordor was the name of the previous game to me. That's how I thought of it. Or,
right?
or
You
the
didn't think of it as
shorthand was
Middle Earth.
Mordor.
Yeah,
Like I think around the
Yeah,
office we
Mordor.
mostly refer to it as Mordor.
right.
So for that to be the one word that changed in the title.
Yeah.
is a little bit weird.
We went to that Microsoft event and played some Fusion Frenzy, and someone from Warner called it
Miso.
Middle Earth Shadow of War,
MESOW.
which I thought
You guys
was
check out Miso yet?
funny.
I thought it was funny too,
but
I refuse to.
But I
adopt
also,
it.
that's not. I don't view that. That sounds like something that you would call the game after multiple years of dealing
Yes.
with it from a marketing perspective,
Yep.
and not something an actual human would ever say.
I have been referring to it as Mordor.
Yeah, that works too,
People
as
know
it
what
turns
that-
out.
people know what that
Mordor 2.
Sure.
Hey, why is Shelob sexy now?
Is Shelob a character that was in stuff?
Shelob
big
is
spider.
the giant spider.
No, I know.
Okay.
But I know nothing of
That's
Middle
not.
Earth.
That's not the
and-
thing I was going
We've
to
seen her in
lead.
the movies before.
That's
Okay.
not. That's not the thing I was going to lead with. But yeah, that's pretty dumb. They,
I thought that maybe they just had to gin up some new bad guy or new
No.
character for the game. So they're just like, what about a sexy spider lady?
that's basically.
Yeah.
She's not exactly a villain. more
How's
of a-
the yeah
right.
more of and stirring the pot as it were.
yes,
yeah.
yes.
But how has this character been represented previously?
as a giant spider.
Yeah.
Oh, no human
The
form
character,
whatsoever.
if you want to refer to a gigantic demonic like immortal spider as a character, the character has solely ever been represented as a giant spider.
Well, I'm looking forward to the next set of movies then because that lady is smoking.
Those are only available online. You have to buy these tokens.
Okay,
and you
all
can
right.
see Shelob's dance.
alternate director's comment cut of
Yeah. It's not like I'm not going to get upset about it from a mythology perspective of like, oh, she couldn't do that in the books or whatever, but it's more just like, come on, video games, really? Like, really?
That's what we're renaming this podcast to, right? Come on, video games, comma, really?
It's dumb.
but the first game, seemed like it was maybe a little dumb from a perspective of,
absolutely.
like compared to the lore.
Yeah.
And I've seen
Well-
some people say like, oh, actually, like it's fitting in some ways because like your character is not necessarily a good guy in the same way that the characters from the books
Yeah,
slash
sure.
movies.
Sure.
Yeah, you're not on like
were.
a
I
grand
guess that's-
quest to
that's fair.
save
Right.
Middle Earth.
Yeah. You're kind of
You're on a revenge quest
Yeah,
turned
that's
like,
fair.
I want to kill all the orcs.
right.
This game is way easier to enjoy if you don't take any of that stuff seriously.
To be fair,
at all.
kill slash enslave. I mean,
Sure.
let's-
Yeah.
yeah.
That's basically how I treated the first game. It's just like
It's just like-
its inclusion in that mythology is just patently absurd. So I'm just not going to take
Even
it
more so this time because
seriously
it's
in
like,
that sense.
hey, let's just make another ring, huh?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
New
They
ring.
start
Cool.
the game. Yeah. Yes.
That seemed like
really dumb.
again, as someone who knows not of any of this other shit, to open the game with them going like, "We made another ring." I mean, it seems like it's kind of careless.
To be fair, your undead ranger is haunted by the
ring maker.
the angry
Sure.
ghost elf who made the rings in the first place. So I
Okay.
guess that checks out. But it's just like,
It seems like that's something you would have done previously.
Game one. Yeah.
But isn't that how the first game ends?
Well,
It's just like we got to make another ring,
yes, that
and
is
then so this
literally-
game is just like
I think the last
minutes
line
later.
The last line of the ending, which they rehash at the beginning of this, is
Yeah.
like it's time for a new ring.
and so does that mean there are 2 rings or there are 9? Is it,
No,
is
there's
it-
there's
zero.
a lot. There's like
There's
20
one.
something.
okay.
Well, no, don't.
There's 7.
There's the one
9,
ring.
1.
But the one
Like
free-
all
Oh.
a bunch of elves
There's
get
like 20.
some.
There's like 20, and now there's 21.
Is
a
there
bunch of
a
dwarves
ring that they
get
call the
some.
7 ring?
No.
Okay. What the fuck? Okay.
No, the dwarves got 7 rings.
Okay.
Men got 9, but they were corrupted and enslaved by them.
Do you have to wear them all, or could you put them on a necklace? Like, could some be toe rings?
You have
or-
to
think they're
wear
supposed
it
to go on the
have
finger?
it to have the power.
Yeah,
Right.
kinda.
Also, why do they wear it on their index finger like
I
they're
don't
going to point with the ring? Because I
Because
noticed
they're not married.
Because okay, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
but still, it's called a ring fucking finger for
Again, best not to think about any of this too hard.
the ring keeps slipping off of people's hands in cutscenes, and I think
because
it's because it's on their pointer finger, and they keep pointing, and the ring just goes whoop, and they're like, shit,
Where do we have to go? Over there.
I needed that.
And it flies in a volcano.
Yeah.
So so this ring, I thought the whole point of the ring is that if you wore it, it made you bad eventually. So
Yeah.
this ring is
Yeah.
not tainted with the taint
I'm
of.
corrupted with
Are all the
power.
other rings?
I haven't finished it yet, so maybe.
Are all the other rings bad?
yeah,
Yeah.
kind of. Not the elven rings, not so much.
Well, that's because the elves have
Except-
like stronger will.
Well,
right?
they made them without the knowledge of the bad guy.
Oh,
If
okay.
I'm not, no, I'm sorry, it's the other way around.
There's
he,
a line-
He made the one ring in order to subordinate those rings to his will.
I don't know. I'm coming into the
In
story with a
secret.
big old all right, fucking whatever. All
Yeah,
right, let's
yes,
just-
that's how.
let's kill
Yes,
some
that's
shit.
basically like there's a couple of neat things in the story that tie into little aspects of Middle Earth, but for the most part, it's dumb and
This is
absurd.
like a
and
Middle
just,
Earth,
like,
like power fantasy,
Yes,
like a
yes.
side thing. It's
which is not
strange.
something that really fits well with the
Yeah.
tone and the themes of Lord of the Rings stuff.
But damn if it doesn't make for a
whatever.
good video game.
Because yes, like the stuff they've done with the Nemesis system is kind of incredible in this game. Right up until you've like done so much of it that it starts feeling kind of rote and mechanical.
I've played about maybe an hour and a half of the game.
Yeah.
And I feel like I might be there
Oh,
already.
dude, there's so much you haven't seen though. There's
I'm
so many
sure,
little twists on it here and there.
But like every time I clicked identify, and it was just like, here's another menu of just like, this man doesn't like arrows.
Yeah, it's that for dozens of hours.
Right.
Like if you're already tired of it,
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this game. Like there are things I like about it, for sure. But
Watching that quick look, like you were already, a good ways into the game,
Yeah.
but we were just like inundated with menu upon menu.
I felt
upon
bad about
menu.
that quick look because it felt
It's
kind
hard.
of meandering because there's so much in the game.
A lot to
and
show
and
off.
I put another like 15 hours into it since we recorded that, and there's way more since then that I have gotten into.
But you
Yeah.
made me feel a little bit better saying that, they just kind of layer this stuff on, bit
it's
by
not
bit.
well.
They don't throw it all at you.
Yeah, for the
right?
most part, it's pretty easy to get your head around, except later on, at a certain point, there are so many relationships between different orcs, and then, like you're signing them out to do tasks, and you're like not quite sure who's going to interact with who.
yeah.
It can get a little overwhelming.
So I'm still in like relatively early game,
Yeah.
and it still feels like here's a captain just happened upon me and
Yeah.
wants to fight, and it's hard to know because it's still trying to introduce concepts. It's hard for me to know if this is something that is like scripted to happen to teach you
No,
something,
it's-
or if it's just like I'm just randomly running into dudes
No, I think it
one
is.
or two at a time.
I think it's truly random, and I say that because I have gotten into so many insane, awkward messes over the course of
Yeah.
playing this game
it's
that it cannot be intentional because it gets too top heavy.
like that. That's my impression of the game
Yeah.
as the experience I've had with it so far has been. Yeah, it's a mess because like it's hard. It's still trying to like teach me stuff about like, hey, here's how to highlight a quest and go here. But oh wait, there's a guy here. Like, oh, do I need to
Yeah.
fight him or should I run or should I just go do the thing you're telling me to do or what the fuck am I?
Like 9 times out of 10, I enjoy that messy aspect of it.
It seems like
because
it's
it's
once you
constantly-
get out into the main game, like
Yeah.
that is the game.
Yeah.
Is like seeing those systems interact,
Right.
And all that, like that, the emergent aspect
Yeah.
of it is the game.
Yeah.
But to have it happen while it's still in this prologue area of trying to show you what the fuck's going on, like,
Yeah.
hey, you should climb a tower. Called it a hay deer
Yeah.
for some fucking whatever. The lore's the lore.
I ended up the first day I really sat down with the game, I spent 6 hours in that prologue area that you're
Yeah.
in, like just doing Nemesis stuff constantly. Like I could not stop.
Did that ever pay off, or were you wasting your time? Because
I mean, you have a lot of gear
yeah, okay.
coming out of that because gear drops from the captains. That's how you
I can't
get-
believe like the thing that so that you literally climb towers in this game. Not that it's hard,
Yeah.
because they made climbing
climbing is so trivial
insanely
in this.
like trivially in a way that looks awkward.
If you, I think it's fine. Like if you,
Dude,
alright. It feels
when you
alright.
hit there's like the speed boost
I
jump
know.
thing. You hit it, he'll jump and then go out to catch an outer
Sometimes.
railing.
Once in a while.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Once in a while,
like,
it
it's
looks goofy.
fine for
Yeah.
because but it's some video game
yeah,
shit.
that's that is the
Yeah.
theme of this game. Is it's all some video game shit.
And then you get up to the top and like purify the tower, which then triggers a little thing that is just the fucking binocular shit from that Mad Max game.
yeah.
And you're just like, who the fuck thought that was a good thing to put in another game?
Yeah, they
Warner
could-
Brothers apparently.
They could just paint the icons on the map. at
yeah,
that point.
it's
That,
really
that
weird to
doesn't
have
add
this like,
much.
here's this empty like go look around. Yeah,
You basically have to go around and tag all the side activities from the top of the tower. I mean, whatever. It takes like 30 seconds.
It
It's
does not take
that
a
big
long
deal.
time, but it's just a thing that you're just like,
But
this,
yeah.
it's like this game needed an editor almost to go through and be like, actually trim that out.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
actually, it brings nothing to the game.
Yeah.
You don't get a better sense of the size or scope of the world while doing it the way you might from up on high. So you're not like getting a true lay of the land. You're just marking a fucking mini map. Just mark the mini map and let them move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
It's just a weird, whatever. It's a dumb thing to get hung up on, but it was one of those things that was just like, man, for a game that's got so much other crazy shit in it.
Yeah.
they could have streamlined some of this non-essential
That
stuff
is
that
definitely true.
does nothing for the game.
That's definitely true.
So it's real easy to get sidetracked.
Yes.
You know, spend 5-6 hours doing whatever.
yeah.
But are you unlocking powers like as you're hitting like main quest points?
Some of the powers are locked up behind story missions, but not
Okay.
that many of them. For the most part, you're
Do you
getting.
suggest kind of like mainlining, you know, for
Yes,
a little while?
yes.
To,
Like
get
I
some of
made that
stuff
mistake.
unlocked
I made that mistake of
before you.
spending a ton of time because like early on, so they generate Nemesis missions. I can't remember if the first game had this or not, but I want to say in the first game they would just show up randomly. Like you couldn't target guys and go do a quest to kill them. Does anybody remember?
You could, yeah.
Okay.
I think it would be a quest, right? Or no, when you knew where they were, you could highlight them and go to them.
But did it codify it as a quest, like with a quest description and objective and all that stuff? Because that's what this game
No,
does.
I want to
Like,
say
this game,
it was more like, hey, this guy's wandering in this area. Go jack his
so
shit.
it's way more formal than that now.
Okay.
There's a whole category of Nemesis missions, and they are automatically generated based on like. Half the time it'll be like, oh, this guy is like raiding a camp, or this guy is having a feast, and then sometimes they'll involve two orcs where it's like, oh, this guy wants to duel this other guy, or you know, stuff like that. I forget. You know, they have got a whole list of objectives that they might use, but like these missions are constantly popping up around the map, and they all have timers on them because every time you die or do one of those missions, it advances time.
Oh, I fucking hate timers.
One tick. You will quickly learn to not care about those timers because there are always more missions.
Okay.
They will constantly keep generating missions, so like you never really.
None of it actually matters because they'll just gin up more of it for you anyway.
Like if
as
there's a specific,
a clicker fan, you can't.
yeah, no, that's why I'm breaking it down to the bare essentials.
but I will say that if there are specific orcs that you want to do specific things with, then it does
yeah.
mean
Oh, wait.
I've seen
Are any of the
I wanna
orc
get with
sexy
that
ladies
bar.
there?
I've seen reviews refer to this game as like an orc dating simulator.
Yeah,
so like,
You were saying that it's
pretty common sentiment.
wished that this game had a spreadsheet built in.
dude, yeah,
basically.
like
Just-
at a certain. So you know, the first game there were two maps, like two big open worlds, and each one had a single Nemesis hierarchy
Right.
that was fairly fixed. Like there are like endless Nemesis hierarchies in this game. Every new location.
how many of those like fortresses?
I've got like
have you-
5 of them so far. Opened up.
Have they been pretty unique from each other, or is it the same sort of like
They're pretty
you fight
generic.
a couple captains and then you win?
It really depends on how you approach it.
Like if you
So-
take out all the captains first, then there won't be captains there. Right?
Yeah, so I started experimenting with it. So there's an overlord that runs a fortress. Every map has a fortress.
Yeah.
There's an overlord that runs the whole thing. There are war chiefs under him that have
and
like
they each
crazy,
get 2 people, and then
and then they
each
have
get 2
guys under
people,
them. It's
and you make your money back in a matter of weeks.
Yeah,
it's a perfect system.
So-
you can't lose.
So I had taken over 2 fortresses previously where I had spent like, 3-4 hours like dominating orcs, sending them on kill missions, like having them take out guys, like become spies
Yeah,
and infiltrate the ranks. And so like, and it's kind of awesome.
that
when-
seems like that's where the fun of this
it is fun. Like, because when you roll in and finally do the siege to challenge the overlord, which is like a crazy hard big fight, it's almost like a battlefield match because there are capture points and you have to.
Another super video gamey thing that really
Kinda.
like the first time I saw it in preview, like when they brought it around or when I went and saw it, it was like, oh, so I just walk up to checkpoint alpha and
Kinda.
push down on
Yeah.
the D-pad,
Well, but
and then I
that's-
take this part of the castle.
So that only works if you have already sent a guy to become a spy
Yeah.
in that position.
Otherwise, you have to fight a guy
So
and
yeah,
then do it.
There's a war chief assigned to each capture point in,
Yeah.
in the fortress. Point is, like, these sieges had been a cakewalk every time I had, like, hollowed out the ranks and sent my own people in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you basically just waltz right through in 45 seconds and just go fight the boss.
Yeah.
So I took on a fortress in a new area last night that I had just gotten to, and I hadn't spent any time doing that stuff, and the fight was fucking insane. Like, it was all enemy war chiefs. They all had bodyguards coming out.
Yeah.
So it's like 8 or 10 captains all over the place, fucking
All
stuff
of them
up.
yelling crazy shit at you.
Yeah, like I brought in the guys that I had, but they were dying left and right. The bad captains were dying left and right. Like, it was just this chaos. It was like insane. It was bedlam everywhere.
I've
And
been
like,
in some real bad spots in,
Yeah.
in the first game, but this
Yeah.
sounds like turned up.
it was kind of awesome.
considerably.
Like, it was like 20 minutes of running back and forth between these capture points, like trying to revive my captains. Like, I was dominating some of the enemy ones and bringing them over to my side.
So power wise, like what are they giving you to?
It's a lot of the same stuff
deal
in the
with
first
this
one
stuff.
with like
Okay.
modifiers and extra effects. You've got your bow, you've got slow motion, you've got you build up a hit streak and other meters that you can cash in on execution moves or like drain health out of guys and all kinds of stuff like that. You got a bunch of crowd control moves with like AOE freeze or poison or fire, like all that stuff. Like it's the same style of combat for sure.
Right. Well,
and it's Batman.
What's like standing out to you as far as like what's new in his
It's the Nemesis
moveset?
stuff. It's just how crazily expanded it is.
But his power set is still pretty much the same.
it's the same style of stuff. There's a lot of new abilities or new
Like
variations.
I don't think
on
you could
abilities.
root a guy in the first game, could you?
I think so. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
pretty
you
sure
could.
you could
alright.
pin a guy because the
Yeah.
captains will try to retreat and stuff.
That's fun.
The best part of the game has been seeing all the little ideas they came up with for like tweaking and like putting twists on Nemesis stuff. I wish I'd been writing some of the stuff down because it's just like example after example. Like, so there are trolls now in addition to orcs, and they're like bigger and they have a different moveset.
These are the guys you jump on their back and stab
You
the shit
can
out of them,
ride
right?
them, yeah. But they're kind of harder to take down. Anyway, I had a troll captain killed me at one point, and as he was killing me, so there's loot. Like
Yeah.
there's like color coded loot. It's like epic, rare, legendary, blah blah blah. And that stuff is meaningful. Like all the rare loot has perks on it. Like you do little weapon challenges to upgrade each piece that you get.
Right.
Like it matters. He grabbed my sword from me as he killed me, and like broke it in front of me.
Son of a bitch.
And I think it changed his title to like Swordbreaker or something like that.
Oh.
Wow.
And he was just taunting me. He was like, fucking give me your toothpick. And then I spawned and I didn't have my best sword anymore.
Oh, wow.
And it
Okay.
created a new Nemesis mission where I had to go track him down and get revenge on him in order to reforge the sword with better stats on it.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was
Yeah.
just like this great moment of like, well, fuck this guy. Like this was my best sword. Like I have to go kill him now.
That's really cool.
I remember killing one dude, like, whenever you kill a captain, it goes into like a little cinematic, there's a crazy animation along with it. I happened to kill this guy by decapitating him. Like, it's just this dramatic, like, head flying off. They keep finding all these ways to bring back guys that you think you have killed.
Right.
So this guy showed up like a couple hours later with his head stitched back on.
Yeah.
And like his title had been changed to like Tars the Stitch. And he's basically a Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And he's like talking Cockney shit about the fact that he has been stitched back together
Nice.
and brought back to life to come kill me again.
You got to come long ways. That's
Yeah.
the trick.
Yeah.
I,
Come allow that shit.
So like I said, there's challenges all over everything. Like I have, like you have gear where it'll be like, oh, recruit so-and-so type of orc above level 20 to upgrade this piece of gear or whatever. So
Yeah.
I was looking through the Nemesis hierarchies in other zones than the one I was in currently last night to find a guy in the Mystic tribe so I could upgrade this gear or whatever. I targeted him in the menu, which creates like a little mission, like it's just a mission objective.
Like, go draw this guy out. and fuck
Indicator
his shit
type
up.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll tag him now, and then I will fast travel over to this zone and go find him and recruit him to do this challenge. As soon as I popped out of the menu, he fucking showed up in my face. And he was just like out of nowhere, he was like, oh, you want to take me on? I'm going to come after you instead.
That's
And he had
fucking weird.
He had fucking ported from
Yeah.
another zone, which I didn't think they were able to do
That's a weird
to track me down.
It's like I'll say this, like they really seem like they're leaning into their video game
Yeah,
ass
yeah,
shit
yeah.
in
You
some
have to
fun
suspend
ways.
a few disbeliefs.
Yeah,
but
or it's
once
just,
you,
Yeah.
but just to subvert stuff, like some of the orc dialogue I've heard has this very knowing, like they know it's this procedurally generated
bit.
thing,
Yeah.
and they wrote dialogue that kind of plays off it in
Yeah.
this subtle way.
Yeah, it is subtle, and like most of that dialogue is really well written and really well acted. Like the actors they get for those orc parts are so into it.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of selling the whole thing.
I think that's like really funny.
Yeah.
That you get the impression it feels like the orcs know they're in some fucking endless
Kinda.
procedurally generated video game.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, yeah, I'm back again. Just like the way they'll riff off that stuff.
Yeah.
I think is.
I'm
really-
not Turg the large-handed. I'm Berg the large-handed.
Yeah,
You
right.
killed Turg in hour 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of not quite that on the nose, but
Sure.
yeah, a little bit. I don't remember if the first game had the concept of blood brothers, where like two orcs like
I don't think
are
so.
kind of
Yeah,
partnered
I
up,
think
and
that might
will
be new.
so like you'll be fighting one guy who's a blood brother of another guy, and then the other guy will just show up halfway through the fight and
Yeah.
say like fucking lay off, like
Yeah.
and then like there's a trophy for dominating one blood brother and sending him to kill his
Nice.
partner.
Yeah.
And the dialogue totally
that's
acknowledges that, like, well, I'm being mind controlled by this guy, and he wants me to kill you, so I might as well enjoy it. Like
Yeah.
it's just fucking crazy stuff.
Yeah. It's fucking
Like
weird.
that's been by far like the biggest joy of playing that game. It's just
Yeah.
seeing all the little ways they
And
came
I
up
think
with.
it's probably like better that like they are having fun
Yeah,
with it
yes,
instead
yes.
of like trying to be super serious and super middle earthy.
yeah.
Like it seems like it's to the game's benefit, even if this stuff doesn't fit with like what you think of as the lore.
Yeah.
Like it probably made for a
I
better
think
product.
the way the orcs act actually is fairly consistent.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think
Yeah.
relatively. But
That's crazy. I didn't
Yeah.
think they could top it.
yeah, like I said, like I well over 30 hours in, and I'm still, as of last night, seeing like new behaviors out of these guys
Yeah.
and new things they can do that I didn't know they could.
You still you're enjoying the combat? That's the part that
Combat's
for me
fine.
that's been
Yeah.
like it's very stuttery, like not in a performance way,
Yeah.
but in a they deliberately stop the action on a lot of hits.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
This
Yeah.
I
And
kind
it's
of
got
throws
the-
off the timing in some ways.
It's got the Batman issue of it'll auto target whoever's
yeah.
closest to you or whoever it thinks you are trying to aim at.
So you'll be just dashing around.
yeah.
and that's not that.
Mostly
it keeps
that
your combo
works.
going. It's not
Mostly that works
yeah.
fine, but occasionally, like if you built up a big hit streak and you want to cash it in on like a nice move,
Yeah,
especially because you're using those things tactically against captains, because like in a lot of cases you want to whittle their health down so you can dominate them and add them to your army rather than killing them.
yeah,
And occasionally, like it'll think that you wanted to target like some low level guy, and you'll like waste your meter on that
yeah,
guy. And
yeah. That stuff's a little.
that's frustrating, and like just some of the battles can just they get away from themselves. Like 3 different guys will show up, 3 different captains.
Right.
And they've all got different resists and immunities. So like there are certain things you can't use on them. There'll be like 20 or 30 regular guys around you. Then it'll happen to spawn like a couple of giant monsters in, like you saw it in
Yeah.
either UPF or the Quick Look. Like those battles can just get like a little too crazy for their own good.
Yeah, to the point
sometimes.
where it doesn't feel manageable,
Yeah.
or at some point it stops being fun because you're just like, well, the only way for me to do this is to just try to run in a circle, like kite these guys
Kinda,
around
yeah.
until I can
Yeah.
like find a rat
Right.
or blow up one of their heads for health.
And it'll be cases like us, like, oh, well, this guy is enraged by arrows, so I can't like pin him to the ground
Yeah,
to try to manage this better. Like on some level, I think it's amazing that they can dynamic system their way into fights that you can't win or that are too much to manage.
yeah.
But in the moment, occasionally it's just kind of too much.
Or, yeah, at some point, it even just in the early parts of the game, there were definitely fights that just went on too long to the point of tedium, where it was just like, all right, yeah, I mean, like none of this is especially difficult. Like I just need to occasionally hit the counter button, and I can whittle all these normal guys down and eventually get to these captains. But the
Right.
time it's going to take me to do that, it's just not worth it.
Sometimes you're better off just running.
Yeah.
And waiting for. But like you've got so many options, like because it's so easy to return to stealth mode. Like
Right.
you got to
Yeah.
be out of sight
Oh,
for like 10
Dude,
seconds.
also, the
stealth
this is
is
the
incredibly
dumbest
loose.
stealth. Like, yeah,
I like it. I think it's
like,
awesome.
Again, it's another thing where they were just like you get the impression they just said, let's just make a fun video game.
Yep.
I don't know these orcs. You can walk right up to them and stealth kill them to their face.
Like,
fucking whatever.
You've got like a
Like,
guy
it-
can turn around and his indicator go red, and you still got probably a good 3 to 5 seconds to do a stealth kill
Yeah,
on him
it's-
before. And then
you're like skulking past people,
Yeah.
like skulking past
Yeah.
these orcs. Like they're just in full view and like whatever.
And-
they
and some of
barely
the-
activate.
some of the skill upgrades are like sprinting no longer makes sound, so you can just like sprint right behind
Yeah.
guys and do stealth. I mean, you can have 30 guys chasing you, and you just run up a building onto the rooftop, and then they don't know where you are.
yeah,
And,
it's,
like I think that just plays to the fact that it's incredibly arbitrary. It's all just a video game, you know. Like they're not. There's no aspect of realism.
their
in this
systems are
whatsoever.
showing
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like and
And at that point, it's just like, well, I know how this stealth works, and it's incredibly forgiving, so I'm just going to use that as one of my many tools to manage these insane giant battles.
it's still fun in this
Yeah,
weird way.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you see every bit of the machine.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you feel like you see a lot of pieces of the machine
Yeah.
in this game, but it's still a decent time.
Yeah, yeah. And like the management sim aspect of it seems cool so far. Like I've taken over 2 or 3 fortresses, and I have assigned like my best guys to be the war chiefs and the overlord of that place, and like
How much upkeep is there? Like you
none.
just
So
decide-
that's exactly what I was going to say. Like there's none so far.
Huh, okay, good. Actually,
But
yeah.
it sounds like once you finish all the story quests, which are bad, by the way, like all of the story missions in this game are the worst part of the game.
I feel like the stuff I've seen, so like that's where they like dump their fucking very straight-faced
Yeah.
lore.
Well,
of
not
just
only
like,
that-
we need to do this
I mean,
for
like,
Sauron.
The story stuff is kind of not great to begin with, but also
Yeah.
just like the designs they came up for these missions are just like it's like stealth kill 10 guys and then kill the captain that shows up, or like
Yeah,
you know,
like stuff you would be doing anyway,
yeah,
and
it's
having
just-
more
it's
fun
just-
doing it
it's just-
outside
it's
of
just
the
this
confines of this.
it's this very rigid, like uninteresting implementation of all the mechanics they have.
And then like layered in with a hey, you're leaving the mission area
Yes,
pop
yes,
up where you're just
yes.
like fucking no, I'm
Yep,
not.
yep.
Like this whole game should be the mission area.
Yeah, like
that's-
the story missions are the weakest part of the game by far. But yeah, my understanding is once you finish all the story missions, like you enter a post game phase of fortress upkeep.
Okay, good.
There's an online mode where you can take over other players' fortresses, and they can try to take over yours. And it's like I saw people on Twitter comparing it to the MGS5,
Right.
the fucking, what was that stuff called? You know what I'm talking about.
The forward operating base.
Yes,
stuff.
yes, the FOB stuff. It's pretty similar to that.
Yeah.
Is it opt-in?
I don't.
Well, I think the question
No,
is,
'cause
do,
I've had
is do
people-
you lose resources when someone takes your shit?
you lose. So you have an online rank.
Okay.
But there's like kind of like casual and ranked mode.
Yeah,
read.
I'm just getting into that stuff. So I
Okay.
took over one player's fortress. There's a separate like currency or meter called like spoils of war, I think. And every time you fill that meter, you get a loot chest. And you have a rank that goes up or down based on your performance. I think that's it. You don't lose anything from your single player game. Like they explicitly say like, hey, you're not going to lose your fortress if another player takes it over.
Awesome.
You're not going to lose guys. Like they
Yeah,
they can't steal your orcs away from you or anything like that.
Yeah.
And they still have like the revenge stuff. Like, hey, this particular orc killed your buddy.
Yes, they absolutely generate missions based on, hey, this guy killed you. If you now go do this vendetta mission, you will get a better drop out of it because he has killed you.
I would just do it on principle.
Yeah. Yes. Like I mean,
yeah.
that's like maybe the best, like the biggest success of the game is that they create those like emotional relationships where you're like, well, you fucked up this thing I was trying to do by showing up and
Yeah.
getting in the middle of this fight and killing the guy I was trying to dominate. Fuck you. I'm going to go murder you now. That stuff is pretty effective. But yeah, I don't know what the upkeep is like on the fortresses late game once you're in this mode. Like that's where people seem to think the loot box stuff actually matters and is shitty.
The paid stuff. Because, you can. It seems like, there's an in-game currency cost for a lot of these chests, and it seems like you'll get to open some number of those just by playing the game.
Like there are daily challenges that get you chests and like the paid currency and stuff. Like it's not completely inaccessible without paying.
So you haven't. The thing I keep hearing is about the like last act. You haven't.
So I'm not there
okay.
yet. I think I'm getting relatively close to it.
That's what I hear is people complaining
it
about. It
gets
becomes
very-
just a total grind.
Like, yeah.
where you have to
Unless
just-
you're paying.
Yes.
Because legendary orcs are the best orcs, and there aren't.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah, of course. Like naturally, they exist in the world, but very infrequently.
Yeah.
Can you think of any legendary orcs?
For all.
Okay. Shrek's an ogre, or else he'd count.
Yeah.
This game kind of has ogres, sort of.
I feel like orcs are just like kobolds, man. They're just there
They're just
for you
there.
to slaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slaughter.
Brad, how much is it like real money to open a chest? what's
I
the
don't
least
remember. You know what the exchange, the purchase ability for the currency has been offline until launch.
Oh, really?
So I was never able to access the store and
I got
say,
some
I'm gonna
pizza
guess
rolls last night.
$1.99.
That gave me 50 gold.
wait, are they doing a tie-in?
Yeah.
Oh no.
And you can get like up to 100.
50 gold is nothing. Like I
Really?
think the cheapest. I
Damn
think the
it.
cheapest chest is 200 gold. But I don't know what the exchange from gold to dollars is because I haven't been able to see that part of the
If you
store.
burn your
I think if
tongue-
you get the bigger bags, they give you 100. So I would just need 2 of those.
I did a challenge for. I got
No.
I got 400 or 500 gold for taking over a fortress. And they refer to those challenges as daily challenges. They don't, at least pre-release, they didn't cycle as fast as daily, but you will get new challenges to get more of the paid currency.
Yeah, and that shows up in your quest menu. Like the last one on the right is like whatever the daily challenge is.
Yeah.
I just like having this gameplay. It sounds like that there's plenty of loot that drops,
Yeah.
right? Like
Oh,
the idea of
player
buying
gear?
Yeah,
Like, do not
the idea
spend
of buying
money.
gear seems
Yeah.
like the worst
Do
deal in the
not
world.
spend money on player gear. Like you get gear every time you kill a captain, which is constantly.
Yeah.
Um,
And
it's-
I'm
It sounds like getting better orcs to staff your fortresses with is the thing. Where
if you were to be crazy invested enough to want to spend real money, that would be where you should spend it.
That's the sound of it. Yeah, like I haven't seen that stuff.
Yeah.
And apparently they.
Though also, I might suggest don't do that either.
Yeah.
Philosophically,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Hey man, if you play the game and you feel like you get $60 worth out of it, and you're like, well, I put 150 hours into this game. Hey, then there's nothing wrong with that. But don't like just right out the gate pour a bunch of money into loot
definitely not.
boxes.
That's
Definitely
I mean, that's what I feel cosmetic upgrades
Yes.
are for. Are for that feeling of like I got a lot, and that's how I felt fine spending money on like Battlegrounds chests when they had their esports thing going.
Yeah.
Or like Street Fighter costumes, right? I know I'm going to be putting in a lot of
No.
time. And
No.
No, for me, I'm
costumes, yes. Colors, no. That's where I stand on Street Fighter.
I feel okay about the fighting game costumes where they say this is contributing to the pot for this this tournament.
That's good. That's
Until
really
they
good.
jack up the price on it.
That's the thing. Street Fighter is not a great example just because
Yeah, I
it's
know.
Street Fighter
is so expensive.
is missing a bunch of stuff anyway. So
And
the
there's
idea
that.
of paying extra money for a game that feels like it's fucking 2/3 of a game. Well, now what is it? It's like 4/5 of a game now.
Yeah.
We'll get into it in the news.
Sure.
But
Like I keep seeing people lead this argument by saying like, oh, Dota and Overwatch ruined everything. Look at what they've done. But like those things are not cut from the same cloth at all. Like,
It's a
Overwatch
different-
and Dota are complete whole video games that you don't need to spend any money on to enjoy completely. Like,
yeah,
like it's just
well,
cause
you buy
there's a-
Overwatch. It's not a free game.
What
like
I mean
Dota
is what I mean is once you have the game,
right.
Like
That
like
shit
Overwatch
is cosmetic.
yes, it's all cosmetic.
That shit is there for your own customization.
Right.
Like if you and also if you if you feel like I got a lot of enjoyment out of this game. Like I spent I don't know like what $20 something like that on Battleground stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I could actually get my money back with that tracksuit I got.
Sure.
But also, like that was something I wanted to do,
Right.
Because I have had a fantastic time with that game, and I felt totally okay about doing it, and it was not gameplay relevant stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where I think even stuff like Destiny is kind of crossing the line with the weapon mods. Because there are things in it is very light in Destiny, but those things are gameplay relevant, especially late game where you're like, man, I need to fucking merge
two
these
more
weapon
power.
mods.
I need a kinetic mod real
I
bad.
need a kinetic mod real bad. And I need to, if I buy these, I'll get more mods to fuse into these other mods to destroy these mods to build these mods. And so that
in that case, there are so many other ways to get mods that
There
it's
are.
not too bad.
there
I
are,
see
but
what
they
you mean.
are,
Yeah.
but they are
Yeah.
literally selling a thing that impacts the gameplay.
Yep.
And
that's what Forza and Shadow of War are doing. That's why they are a different situation from Overwatch.
Right. Yes, it's a very different situation from Overwatch, a very
And
different,
even
different
like
situation
League,
from Dota.
which has elements where you can spend money and it will impact gameplay. Like you still have a free rotation of heroes.
Well,
You can
I
still,
think
like,
League also gets away with it by being a free game. Period.
Yeah.
So you can try out the game and decide yes or no at that point. You know that is, it is a advanced, very long tail version of shareware or something at that point,
Yeah.
right? So, but this stuff, and Forza is kind of in a weird spot right now because they're not charging yet.
Yeah.
But
you see even in Forza how that design impacts the progression.
definitely,
Or
definitely,
lack of progression.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where that's where the games this year are crossing the line in a way that games previous years felt a little more reluctant to do.
Yeah.
Where it has gotten into stuff like, hey, just buy some chests.
Yeah.
Like even Injustice 2 was selling the ability to buy loot boxes. I mean, the game dropped fucking so many loot boxes that you would be a fool to do it.
Yeah.
But you know, that stuff had stats on it. It's not, stats barely matter in the grand scheme of things, but it still matters at least a little bit.
Yeah.
So like, I think that stuff sucks.
Yeah.
I think that stuff still really sucks. But I also don't think you can. We're past the point of saying like any loot box of any kind is bad.
Yeah.
Like that's like people are buying them. We're past that part of the conversation.
Yeah.
It's really like
there's more nuance to it than that.
yeah, definitely. And I think that, you know, like players want to support their favorite games, and games have shifted in such a way to where it's not like, hey, I played this game for 20 hours and then they wanted me to spend more money to buy more of it. That's still a model for some games, but you know, you're seeing more games get into this idea of, hey, you're going to get the video game, and if you want to sprinkle on some extra shit, we will give you the opportunity to do so. You don't have to.
Yeah.
And I think that's the ideal model when it's just like, hey, you know, like a player wants to, you know, a game like Overwatch that people might play for thousands of hours. Hey, you want to express yourself a little differently and maybe get some chests? Like, yeah, we'll give you some. Maybe you want to get some extra ones with some money. Like, we'll let you.
Yeah.
We should start doing that here too. Like people send us like hats and then, you know, tips. You know, they send us like $50. It's like, okay, I'll wear that hat.
Well,
on
that was the thing I was saying is,
Yeah.
you know, when you write the Middle Earth Shadow of War review,
Yeah.
we'll just create a bunch of blind boxes and each one
right.
gets you one sentence from the review.
Nice.
And then
Yeah.
everybody can crowdsource the review together.
A legendary sentence is like the first or the last sentence.
Anything qualitative.
Yeah.
Yep. As in as concise a way as possible, here's where I'm at with this game in regard to loot chests, because people keep asking, because that's kind of all anybody seems to want to talk about with this
Totally,
game, and
yeah.
like to some extent that's justified. The Nemesis system stuff, like I said, has been incredibly like surprising and delightful, and like really cool how they've expanded it.
Yeah.
I've really, for like 24 hours, have really enjoyed seeing all the twists they put on it. I'm getting to the point now where, as I keep going to new zones with new fortresses, with new entire ranks of orcs, like you said, the machinery is exposed, and it's becoming more rote, you know?
Yeah.
Each new area I get to, it's inherently less interesting to like, all right, now I got to go out and dominate a bunch of worms to get the intel to reveal the
Yeah.
identities of all these guys and figure out who hates who.
And
then,
this is stuff that like would probably be fine if it was the system in the background compared to like a tremendous group of story missions.
Yeah.
Because that's the stuff bringing you to these new areas is the story, but you're telling me that all the story missions have been pretty fucking
No,
lame.
The dynamic
So-
Nemesis stuff is absolutely the reason to play this game, but so yeah, like even in pursuit of finishing the regular game, it's getting more repetitive.
Yeah.
Like that the Nemesis stuff is losing its luster the more I do it.
Of course.
And from the sound of it, post game is when you really have to grind it out to get the orcs you need
To the point,
get through that
to
stuff.
the point where that if
So it
like,
sounds like-
that's a healthy, that's a spot, an inflection point where they can be like,
Yes.
"Hey, buddy,
That's
why don't you buy
fucking-
some legendary
that's
orcs,
exactly
dog?"
It. It seems like exactly at the point of the game where I have really gotten my fill of doing that stuff is when you might have to do the most of it. And if that's how it shakes out, that's not good.
Yeah,
But I haven't gotten there yet, so we'll see.
yeah.
But for now, like it's been one of the coolest things I've done since the last one of these games to go through these ranks and like see all the different personalities they've got and all the different unique things that can happen as you fight them and pit them
Yeah.
against each other.
I feel
and,
like the first game ended up being divisive in a weird way. I like there like the backlash to it felt lasting, where like most people I see talking about the first game talk about it in a really negative way that doesn't really line up with like my experience with that game.
yeah.
I think there were two kind of camps in that negative. One was like it won a lot of Game of the Year stuff because it like wasn't that great of a year for video games overall.
I've seen people say that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so,
that
like,
happened.
and
you know,
yeah.
that's
Like, that was
fine.
That was the game we could all agree on that year because it was kind of a weak year.
and then there were
I
a lot
kinda
of
wanna pull
people.
up
I guess so.
pull up that list
Like
now.
I'm trying to think like what it was even up against.
Yeah.
but
But the other thing that is also an issue with this game that I've seen more and more people talking about is just like it feels gross. A lot of it, just the process of it dominating a race of beings and having them do your bidding as like, you know, a soul survivor kind of has some weird connotations to it that the game doesn't necessarily address in any way.
sure, yeah. I mean, the orcs are just like like they're not. Yeah, you don't.
They like very much dehumanize them as much as possible. Otherwise,
They're literally not human.
yeah.
They are orcs.
But they're not human.
Yeah, but
they
are
they walk
sentient.
and talk
Yeah,
and
definitely.
like
Yeah,
Some of
yeah.
them sing.
I think
Yeah.
that's
True.
Obviously, that's a valid perspective. I think that's stuff that, man, you could go all the way back to just like what are some low level D&D spells for charming enemies? Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
like a level 3. You know, like that's
It is a little bit like this feels weird and uncomfortable to say, but you kind of have to embrace your inner sadist a little bit to enjoy this game. And like every once in a while,
literally is domination is the fucking
Like-
button prompt.
like-
It's
like-
not
like
like
every
make
once-
friends with
every once in a while, as I'm playing the game and doing these things, I have stepped back a few times and went like, this is kind of a lot. This is a little too much. Like when you dominate those guys, specifically the worms, they're marked in green. They're just like the informants in the Batman games.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you track him down, and then that allows you to select one unknown guy on the grid and reveal his identity and stuff. And then after you're done, this changes when you get new abilities, but early on, you've probably seen this.
Yep.
When you dominate the guys, get the intel you need, you then like clench their fist and their fucking head shatters.
Like you're not a good guy in
Yeah,
this game.
like-
You know, you're the guy working for the human side that is like
Getting
half
shit
fucking
done,
ghost
man.
and totally
Yeah,
shitty
yeah.
on a revenge quest.
Like I said,
it's
yeah,
not
you've got a guy, an angry elf ghost who has been in like purgatory for 2,000 years, living in your head.
and he
he's
is extra for as much as like your character has no options other than to blow up heads.
Yeah.
Like that guy is also every step of the way going, fuck all these humans too.
Yeah.
Like fuck everybody.
Yes.
Let's get our shit and get the fuck out. Like it's yes. I think that's a valid perspective, but also like everyone in this game is garbage.
Kinda. Yeah.
And I think that's
As long as
the
you're
lead character is
comfortable
not a role
recognizing
model.
that. Exactly.
And doesn't seem to be
You shouldn't-
designed to
you
be
shouldn't
one.
be looking at this guy
Actually,
being like, "Fuck yeah!"
You know what? There are lines of dialogue, especially like every time you die and respawn, there will be a little exchange between him and the elf guy in his head.
Yeah.
And there are exchanges where he's like angry at the dude for not letting him just die and be with his family in the afterlife. He's like, literally is just like, you could have fucking let me die, but instead you're forcing me to do this.
So the
So,
ring
like-
ghost is truly running the show.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's it's
Uh,
a very complicated
it is a weird thing.
situation.
Like you definitely have to turn off a part of your brain and just be like, yeah, I'm going to mercilessly slaughter tens of thousands of these guys as I root around in this weird dynamic system that they have built.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Which
go
i-
for a
which-
pacifist run. Actually,
I would like this. Yeah.
Just tell Orc stop.
Well, what
Yeah.
I mean,
Leave.
you could have an indirect, like, well, no, because you still have to you just still have to dominate one guy to get him to kill the other. So
Yeah.
I was gonna say you could sick one guy on the other guy, but
Yeah.
that still involves violence.
Yeah, it's a weird kind of experimental game, like just the
Yeah.
stuff they've come up with to have those systems, to have all those gears turn on their own,
Yeah.
to have things happen on their own with or without your intervention.
It's just it's
That
too
stuff
bad
is
that like,
fascinating.
it's too bad the stuff around it isn't better. Like because
Yeah.
like I said, I there's something about this game. I just really don't like the look of the main character. Just like from an like just the head looks bad. The hair, like the cape, like there's just
He's got
elements
a-
of the
he's got a little bit of a
textures and
dead-eyed look to
There's
him
just
and
stuff
stuff.
about it that just looks like you look at it and go like, man, this could look a lot better. I checked out the PC version, which has like a separate high texture pack thing to make it even bigger download.
Also, yeah, the
100 gig at that point. I think.
the 4K cinematics on PS4 are a separate download.
So, they
Also-
are on Steam also.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. I just don't think this game looks
Yeah,
particularly
like
great.
I think the lighting in a lot of spots is really nice, but
Yes.
but underneath that, like underneath the environmental effects that they apply, like the base,
just like surfaces, walls,
Yeah,
caverns, the characters.
not
like
to sit here and run down texture quality or
Yeah,
something,
but
but,
I-
like
but I
there
just
is there
don't-
is
I
kind
don't
of
think
a
it looks good.
There is kind of a flat look to a lot of it
Yeah.
that looks a little dated, but I think the lighting does dress it up a good bit. But I've mostly really enjoyed my time with it, but it's definitely got some caveats, some significant stuff. Like I didn't even mention that like because they compartmentalize each fortress and build a map around it, like
Right.
each individual area feels like really small and overly dense. As opposed to like, the first game just felt like a giant world that you were exploring, and like that made the agents moving around within it feel a little bit more random and dynamic.
Right. 'cause
Versus
it's-
here, they're all crammed into this tiny space.
Yeah.
And you're tripping over them constantly.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I miss the aspect of just exploring and running around the world.
Hmm.
Like it feels very much like every time you port back to an area you've been to, you just have a laundry list. It's just like, okay, I'm going to go do this mission, and then I'm going to get this collectible, and then I'm going to fast travel to this tower
Yeah.
and do this thing. And it's just like I'm just checking items off a
It
list.
feels less like a world and
yeah,
more.
yeah, totally. And like mechanically, that can be super interesting.
Okay.
but
That makes a lot of sense because like
Yeah.
I've like I said I've been in like the first two areas or
Yeah.
something, and it's felt like almost claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Where it's just like I'm like it's hard to get a lay of the land, a sense of like what's where.
Mm-hmm.
Even looking at the map, I'm just like I feel like everything is walled in. I'm just like
Yeah.
like doing this stupid jump move over things, and it just has a weird feel to it. But yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that maybe that's what I'm experiencing is that these areas are just too fucking small.
Yeah. I miss the way the first game was designed a little bit, but anyway, I think it's really fun overall with all the issues that we have mentioned, and it's out now.
They released it early on PC.
Did they?
It was
I
set for
saw
like
people saying like, "Whoa, this just unlocked."
yeah, it
Like,
unlocked like 12 hours early. Like it unlocked
Wow.
it timed to the console release, like
Okay.
the 9 p.m.
Yeah.
or somewhere around there, maybe even earlier than that.
It was earlier.
Yeah, but like
I was
somebody
playing at
got-
like
it was
7
originally
o'clock
supposed to be
last
like 10 a.m. today or 9
Oh.
a.m. today, and
Oh,
then
wow.
it just suddenly was like,
Yeah, that's
fuck
cool.
it, fuck
That's-
it.
That's neat. Yeah. How you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been rubbing my eyes a lot. I think it's
Yeah.
kind of smoky in here.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Uh,
Did you manage to get any games in
yeah.
as things have been crazy?
I've been pumping through. I've been trying to get the full 1,000 achievement points in the video game Cuphead.
Okay, that sounds like a tall order
Yeah.
from what I hear.
So
Well, actually, how tied into the difficulty are the achievements? Are they pretty tough?
there's a few.
Yeah.
There's like a couple I can tell are going to be like a lot of beat these guys without getting hit.
Oof.
Or one of them is beat a boss, beat one of the plane bosses as the mini plane only, which does like half damage. And And so I unlocked. So I guess this is kind of spoilery, but there is a NPC you talk to in Island 3, and he's like, it's a shame what you've been doing. You know, there's like a peaceful way of going about things. And I immediately, rather than trying to figure it out, Googled it
Okay.
and found out you can beat all of the run and gun levels without shooting. You have to just basically exploit it. You have to like parry jump over mini bosses or use the invincibility super to run through
Okay.
certain things. And if you do that, you unlock expert mode on the bosses,
That's how you do it. Wow.
which I really appreciate that the work they did in this expert mode, because they could have very much just like all the bosses shoot faster or whatever, but I haven't seen any new animations necessarily, but I've seen like different behavior patterns, different projectile patterns, just like a lot of really interesting little changes that make it a lot harder. So I'm kind of halfway through trying to beat all the bosses on expert. And gosh, I just really love the game. It's one of those ones where it's like Meat Boy. It's like something like a Dust Force, where you get your controls. They're pretty simple. Like the most advanced mechanic in the game is multi-parrying, right? Like just jumping from pink thing to pink thing. But the game is all about just like mastering, your character, which I am totally into that as a video game mechanic. It's a lot of fun, and I'm still blown away by the art and like the sound. And
Hasn't
everything.
like lost its luster.
Not
Did you
at
see somebody? That's on Twitter or somewhere. Somebody said that sound mode that you wanted is in
it's
there,
in there. Yeah.
but,
So
but
that's-
it's also another crazy hard unlock.
You unlock that when you do the pacifism stuff. It
Okay.
unlocks a black and white mode and like they call it authentic audio or something. And it's much more. It's all like warped and
Scratchy,
And,
that's
That's
yeah.
great. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
That's cool that it's in there. man.
I'll never be able to unlock
yeah,
that, but
kind
that's
of
yeah.
a bummer that it's that hard to get. But,
you
but
know.
that's cool that that's in there.
Yeah.
Have you seen I've seen all these videos going around on like Twitter of people hooking up their Xbox through like an HDMI to RF converter
yeah,
and
yeah.
playing it on like a 50-year-old black and white TV.
Oh yeah.
And stuff like that.
All right, what are your thoughts on? I don't want to get. I know controversy here. What are your thoughts? Cuphead, Mugman.
I think Cuphead is more easily marketable. I think Cuphead has more mainstream appeal. He looks like Mickey Mouse.
Because Mugman is a bigger nut. What are you getting out here?
He's got a bigger mug,
Okay, all
which
right.
generally is frowned upon by the public. As somebody with a gigantic mug myself,
They say that like people with gigantic mugs are more likely to be famous, like a Tom Cruise. They did the science about like people with big heads,
Huh.
big faces
'cause
resonate.
it's easier
more
to put it on
cleanly.
a billboard.
It's good on a
Exactly,
billboard. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Mugman's the Luigi of this relationship.
Yeah, he's got more character, just like Luigi.
Yeah.
He's unappreciated.
Yeah,
in his
he
time.
jumps higher.
I love saying the word Mugman way more than the word Cuphead.
Yeah.
And I think Cuphead's probably a better name for a video game, but man, what about Mugman?
Cuphead
Not
sounds like
Mugman.
an insult. Like that guy's a Cuphead.
Yeah.
Mugman sounds like a guy I want to hang out with.
Yeah. Hey, Mugman.
Hey, it's Mugman.
What up,
Oh, you didn't
Mugman?
say Mugman was coming.
Yo, it's
Hey.
me, it's Mugman.
Oh, did you bring anything?
Yeah, I brought some masks. It's been smoky around here, you know what I'm saying? Not from the fire. I'm burning one.
Thanks, Mugman.
He's the life of the party.
That's right.
He is.
Follow me on Insta. Real Mugman 420.
Real Mugman hours. Fuck, it's just a good game.
Yeah,
It's just like one of those like perfect little packages that I'm super into.
People still talking about it. I see it all over the place. Seems like it's kind of struck a chord.
I
People are
saw
sticking with it.
that the soundtrack debuted at number 9 on the Billboard Jazz charts.
Okay, sure. Why not?
Yeah. Maybe not a lot of movement.
Yeah, probably not
Yeah.
the most stiff competition there, but hey, congrats to them.
Yeah.
I mean, the soundtrack seems really good.
Yeah,
So,
it is.
Yeah.
And played some Gundam versus.
Gundamu. Gundamu.
That song gets a little annoying.
Ingrained in your brain?
It gets-
Is that in your soul?
It has the old Gundam theme in it, and they play it a lot in the single player.
Yeah, they do.
Maybe
You can
maybe
actually
a
go
little
into
bit
the
too
options
much.
and
Yeah.
just select that song if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can assign like different background musics to different Gundams you pick, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is the hardest game, or no, that is the game the best example of a game that doesn't want me to play it. It is so poorly like localized.
They didn't give a fuck. They're like, guys, shut up. All right, we hear you. You really want this game. We get
They
it.
wasted all the
Here.
English on the EULA
Here.
and privacy notice.
Yeah, pretty much.
They
There-
didn't have any left for.
I can confirm what Jason said. There's no subtitles. There's no options for subtitles in the cutscenes.
Who needs them?
The bare amount of English that is in there is poor at best. Borderline unreadable for some tutorial tooltips.
And speaking of tutorials, there's not much.
There is 3 tutorials.
They did not teach you how to like play that game.
They teach you like how to maybe beat an AI opponent once. But if you want to learn how to like foofy dash, is that what it's called?
What, Boost Dash?
No, foofy dashing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's an even more advanced form of
high level.
So there's boost stepping, there's boost dashing, there's boost canceling. What's the one where you go down?
That's the new one. That's the boost cancel.
Boost
Well, I mean,
canceling?
it is a cancel. Like you use it as a cancel,
Yeah.
right?
Boost drop.
Yeah.
That's what it is. This game is so fucking complex and deep. It is like one of the most technical fighting games. Not in the combos or anything. Like but you have a couple attacks. You have a basic melee, basic ranged, advanced melee, like special melee and special ranged.
That's for probably like 80-90% of the cast.
Yeah.
There's outliers that are
And there's like
just
100
ranged. Yeah.
different Gundams. Also,
ton.
we'll get to that in a minute.
That is many.
That
That is much.
That's
Gundam.
much. That's
It's
many
mu-
and much Gundams. And again, this is like virtual on, like open arena.
Yeah, so
3D.
2-on-2
Okay.
is the kind of classic. There are some 3-on-3s or 1-on-1s or whatever, but you're mostly looking at 2-on-2 Gundam fighting, you and a friend against 2 opponents. And you can kind of chain a couple attacks into each other, but at most you're getting like 3-4 hits in before they go into like a invulnerable state. But where it gets incredibly technical is with all the movement options, because you can pretty much cancel any animation into a dash or a boost, which are different, even though they look very similar.
So there's like a lot of recovery time, like after a normal boost, and that's when you're really vulnerable, and that's when people should shoot you. So what you're doing is you're kind of boosting and then canceling into something to kind of throw them off, and then boosting again.
faking them out.
Or you're like
Yeah.
dash into them, go to do your melee attack to force them to do something unsafe, and then you jet out of your melee attack at the last second and hit them with the other melee attack. Or like if they run away, you shoot
But
them.
then, does anyone? What are the options that require a hard commitment? Then, if it
So-
forces them to counter your melee, could they then cancel out of that if they see you canceling out of that?
Totally, and where it gets tricky is with like your boost management, because all of these
Yeah.
cancels
Okay.
and stuff
Yeah.
Does it just
require
become
you
an
to use
endless,
leader.
an endless series of moves being canceled.
So in a perfect game,
infinite
it's like
regress.
first person to run out of boost loses that, like takes the 4 hits.
Yeah, and basically where that gets easier to manage, or where that gets more dynamic, is because it's 2-on-2, right? So you have one player forcing
Okay,
another
yeah.
player to do something, while the other ones kind of. I was reading up, and you basically want to have like somebody in the front and somebody in the back, somebody who's like trying to get in, and somebody who's like laying down suppressive fire if they like get out of the range. And so yeah, there's all sorts of different canceling. Like a boost dodge will get out of an attack with a homing projectile, whereas a dash is just for movement. But then you can do a dodge into a dash, and there's just like, and then there's like advanced tech that's called like foofy dashing, where you do like a half
Does
circle
it
dash.
say that in the game? Is it
No.
literal? Okay, all right.
No.
This is all from one of 4 YouTube tutorials I had to watch because there was nothing in the game
That was probably just on movement.
Yes.
as well. Yeah.
There's a really good like 14-minute video about the movement of Gundam if you want to, because like I did the tutorial, I played a couple AI matches, I was like, okay, I'm gonna see what this is like online. I hopped on. The weird thing is when you hop online, you have to pick what kind of a match you want. It was like beginner, intermediate, extreme, practice and like a couple other ones. And so I went to beginner, no matches found. I went to intermediate, no matches found. So it was like only people were playing on expert.
Yeah.
found
And
a lot
I
of
got
stuff in
like
casual, actually.
really.
Yeah.
I gotta look out for that. I got like double perfected. Basically, I got like 1 or 2 hits in maybe in the whole match.
People are
And
serious about this game.
It was
Yeah,
like
that's what you're saying.
people have been importing this game because when did it come out in Japan? Like June.
The last one I imported was Extreme Versus, and that was on the PS3. I want to say like 5 years ago or something.
Yeah.
like that.
So people have been playing this type of game for a long time, but this
Right,
one
yeah.
specifically for many months,
and it's
many
big,
much months.
Yeah, it's big in the arcades, where they have controls. I actually recommend using a fight stick
Yeah,
in this game.
I've been using a fight stick
Huh. Okay.
because it's all it's a lot of like dash movements.
Yeah.
And a lot of like movements while you're holding a button.
or pressing 2.
or pressing
Yeah.
or tapping 2. And then so then the basic way that the thing works is your team has 1,000 points, and each Gundam you select has a point value, and when it dies, it drains that from the total number of points you have. So like the stronger Gundams will have 500 points, the weaker ones will have 200 points. That being said, there's like, do you have any idea how many Gundams there are?
No, I know that there's 180 strikers. Those are the assists.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's probably just as many.
So there's
Gundams.
like 100. Let's say there's 110 Gundams. There's 2 pilots you can choose from per Gundam. One you have to unlock. I don't remember how because I haven't done any. I haven't even found one Gundam.
It depends on the character.
Yeah.
Like if you level them up to a certain, like level 15 or something, you can unlock their
Okay.
different pilot.
And then you choose an assist, and there's like or a striker, and
Yep.
there's 100 of those. And then you choose a type if you want to be lightning type or fire type.
Yeah. Blaze
Uh,
or yeah.
And that's
lightning.
basically you can, when your meter is full, you can hit 2 buttons and go to a super mode, and each of the 2 like blade is the fire one is all about like doing massive damage in a short amount of time, and the lightning one's more about like holding an advantage and doing like damage over
More
time and
movement-based,
stuff. And yeah. And it's completely impenetrable, but
from the outside. Yeah.
it's totally fun. I totally understand the appeal of it. Just like I'm like, okay, I'm going to find out how to play this game, and it's going to take me a couple hours before I even understand the
Right.
most basic of movement options. But I'm totally getting why people love it and why fighting game people specifically love it.
Sure,
it scratches
yeah.
that
It
same
seems
itch.
like, yeah, this sounds like way more intense than Virtual On.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
That was the level I was familiar with. I was like, okay, I know how to like. I know how to do some Gundam stuff. I know how to like visualize a like lock on team based game, but I was not ready for Gundam Versus.
Sounds like a lot to commit to.
You really got to dedicate, I think, to get the most out of that game.
Yeah.
But or just get a bunch of friends that like don't know how to play.
yeah,
Like,
I think that's
I
what
don't
I'm
know
gonna
how to
do.
play. Like I can grasp these concepts. I cannot perform them.
Yeah,
I hopped into a 3-on-3 actually, and we did okay. And yeah, surprisingly, like the netcode held up. That's six fucking people all playing at the same time, and yeah, played all right.
Isn't Vinny playing this too?
I made sure that they sent him a copy
Okay.
as well, but I don't think he likes the style of game.
Okay.
But I need his Gundam input on Gundams.
Yes.
I need
it
him
doesn't.
to
It doesn't
check
have.
in.
It doesn't have G Gundam.
You guys should
Oh, really?
I
get online, have a Gundam
I
party.
bought a Blu-ray a while back of like the first chunk of episodes of the very first Gundam.
Okay.
So, and I have not cracked the shrink wrap on that, but I do think that makes me a Gundam expert.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. We'll have you on as well.
Yeah.
You can watch.
I know a lot.
Uh,
It's robots with people in them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
shit, I
Sometimes
never
they got
thought
a
about
gun.
that. Yeah,
Sometimes they got a
that's what it
sword.
is.
Sometimes gun, sometimes damn.
It's super cool that they finally like. I sort of localized it, but I mean it's officially available.
Yeah.
Here in the
This
States.
sort of
That's
reminds
really
me
cool.
of what happened with the Yakuza games over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Remember how that first one had that like lavish English voice cast, like huge,
Yeah.
like huge amount of effort in the localization, and then over
And,
time,
like no one cared about
Yeah.
it. Like, oh, okay.
and then over time, as they didn't sell, they just start doing less and less to them as they continue
which,
to put them out.
which then makes it appeal more and more to the people that
'cause
liked it
that's-
in the first place.
That's what people
you know,
who
it's-
want those games want.
They
to begin
want
with.
that authenticity.
Yeah, for
For sure.
Yeah. All right. You guys want to take a break?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to suggest that we let's take a break and like go get out of the smoky room. But then it's just
There is no
worse.
out.
It's worse out there.
You
All
guys
right.
need ducks.
We
Yeah,
should
I'm
go
gonna
get
get a
ducks.
duck.
All right.
We'll go get ducks and we'll be all right. We'll come back.
All right.
I think it's a little better in here.
We left the door open during the break. It's
Yeah.
less.
I think you're getting used to it.
That's that's the question.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the-
I walk out the door. I was like, it smells good out here. What's going on? And it was just like, oh wait,
No, it's still bad.
because I've been breathing it all morning.
It's like when you're at a barbecue and it first starts, you're like, ooh, it smells good.
Yeah.
But then you're not thinking about the smell ever, like 4 hours in, 5 hours in.
Yeah, when I first started smelling it, like last night or whatever, I'm just like, campfire, oh, camping. I'm over it now.
Yeah.
We thought it was just like
Oh.
a neighbor running their fucking fireplace or something. And I was like, man, this is really getting smoky. Who's the asshole with bad wood? I was like, oh, turns out.
I'm the neighbor with the
Bad wood.
It's not polite
Yeah.
to ask out loud who's the asshole with bad wood.
Who's the asshole with bad wood? When I go to a key party, I want to know up
R.I.P.
front.
Hugh Hefner.
Yeah.
Ooh. On that note,
You guys get your ducks?
let's talk about some other news.
I didn't get a
no,
duck.
Oh,
I
we
didn't get
not-
a duck. I forgot to go get a damn duck. I don't know. Is the wellness fair still going on?
Fucking wellness fair. They have masks out there.
Yogurt
I need
and
a
duck.
I don't know
Oh,
if they
yeah,
have
they have
any more
masks.
I got some free yogurt. It was pretty good.
I bought a box of face masks to go to a doctor-themed party 4 months ago, and I said, I'm never going to use these
Yeah.
again, and threw away the rest of
Oh,
I had a bunch, and I don't know where they went. And they're incredibly hard to find up there now because everyone, well, a lot of like
them.
CVS was giving it away.
right down there.
Yeah, the Walgreens. I'm
That's where I got mine.
gonna go check and see if they still have any. I imagine there's been quite a run on them. I saw people riding bikes around San Francisco wearing them this morning. So
sure does make for some wild, slightly apocalyptic-looking sunsets.
really does.
Yeah.
I forgot to
true.
mention
Beautiful
the
and
sun,
terrifying.
The sun
Yeah.
looked crazy. Like there's just this really,
Want to stare directly at the sun?
Now's the time.
Come on over.
Give me some news, Brad.
really angry orange glare coming in last night.
I think we did news. I think we had a solid 20 minutes
Yeah.
of news at the top.
Oh, video game news. There's some of that. Jeff, you want to talk about Forza 7 boxes and VIP stuff some
Sure,
more?
Yeah, that's I live for that.
Turn 10 has backpedaled on some of the crappy. I was going to say some of the crappy loot box stuff they've been doing, but
No,
it's not
they
really
didn't.
about the loot
They didn't
boxes.
touch the loot box.
It's
stuff
about
at
the
all.
VIP stuff.
Yeah,
which
so-
is kind of somewhat unrelated.
Yeah. So previously, if you bought the VIP upgrade or bought a more expensive version of the game, it basically came with a coin doubler. You got double credits out of your races, accelerating your pace through the progression of buying new cars and so on and so forth. For this game, where they added a bunch of like consumable cards and stuff like that, they changed the VIP stuff to be, hey, you get 5 consumable cards that get you this credits bonus. Which is not a permanent upgrade, and you would burn through them.
And then maybe
That's-
you would buy some more.
And then maybe you would buy some blind boxes, and hopefully maybe you'd get some more. I don't know if they even come in the boxes because it would say VIP bonus on the cards. That's a bad change for something that is like such a barely meaningful upgrade to begin with, to then neuter that in service of their like pretty awful new progression stuff. Like that was an extra slap in the face to the longtime fans of the series that would be most likely to want to buy the more expensive versions of the game.
And it's like $20 more. Right?
I believe so.
I
Yeah,
believe is the
you
VIP
can
stuff.
add it on after the fact as well. But like
Yeah.
keep in mind, like that's also, you bought those upgraded versions of the game if you wanted to play on Friday instead of Tuesday. Like they did a thing if you bought the more expensive version, you got it the Friday before the Tuesday. So extreme fans of the franchise would be most likely to go in at that higher price, only to find that like the thing that kind of came with it had been lessened in service
Pretty
of
severely.
in
lessened.
service of this pretty nasty, like lame system that they tacked on. So they issued, the head of studio came out and issued a big apology about that stuff. It's like, yeah, we're gonna roll that stuff back.
Yeah.
Um,
It says in an upcoming update.
right. So
the
the
coin doubler
the
will
thing
be
they
coming
did
back.
immediately is give VIP members 1 million credits.
Yeah.
And
Which
like
I was
4 cars.
I was going to ask you how meaningful 1 million credits is. And
I think
in the context
the
of this
high-end
game.
cars might get up around that number,
Oh,
but
wow.
that's most of the cars, like 200,000, 300,000, something like that. So it's money to play with.
Yeah.
And then they
Also
gave
a Camaro.
people 4 cars. Yeah.
the Jaguar, Camaro, an Acura, and a Maserati.
Sure. I fired it back up after the change just to download the cars and look at it. And it's like the cars come with a collector score that might move you into a higher tier of car collection, which might open up more cars for you to purchase and that sort of
that's
stuff.
right.
And it doesn't really, I don't think it addresses the root issue with Forza this year, which, well, the numerous like harder to fix issues which are around things like
the progression, right?
Yeah, the progression, or just like even just like the raw number of tracks to drive on and how many of those appeared in the game 2 years ago, and that sort of stuff. You know, that it's like this is dumb. It was a dumb move on their part to do this to the types of players that would be willing to like buy this kind of dumb upgrade to begin with, to then lessen it after all these years. It seems like a weird slap in the face to their biggest fans.
More like a kind of important person.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
You're somebody who knows the guy.
Yeah, you're somebody who knows a guy who said you should spend $100 on this game instead of $60, and they're making a change there. But yeah, I mean, you know, they still, like, all the crates and mod cards and all the other stuff. The thing that people are finding now that they're spending more time with the game, that I kind of started to see the menus and go like, this doesn't seem right, but now it's starting to bear out, is the things they've done to before they would bracket the cars into classes. You'd have an A-class car, a B-class car, S-class car, all that sort of stuff. And they would have their number, their 3-digit, you know, well, there could be 4 if you have a really good car. They have a performance indicator that would say, this is how good this car is. And if you change
like a power level.
Yeah. And if you replace this spoiler with something else, that's going to change the power level of this car. In previous games, that would lead to cases where the top times on every single leaderboard would be a specific car, because people would know to tune a car a specific way for this track and all this other stuff.
Sure.
Which, you know, it leads to a lack of variety, but also is probably how that would work in real life to a certain extent. Maybe, you know, different drivers would prefer different cars or something like that, but, you know, that seems like maybe how it could go. So they've tried to get away from that system in service of making more cars viable. But instead, they've led to situations where, like, some cars you can't get into certain performance brackets because they come a certain way, and as you start to modify the car, you have less control over that because the systems get like normalized, get homogenized across these races in ways that feel worse than the old way.
I saw some people saying exactly that stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
it seems like something that's rubbing people the wrong way.
Yeah, for sure. And we do know that rubbing is racing, but not like this. So I just feel like the game has a lot of core issues that, you know, some of them are stuff that I'm experiencing, or I did experience head on in a way that maybe not want to play the game anymore. But it sounds like, you know, like longtime fans of the series are really having serious misgivings about some of these aspects of the game. Now that it's kind of further developing and people are kind of seeing how that stuff is bearing out as they're working through the progression.
It seems like between this and Shadow of War, especially with them shipping this close together, like we may be reaching a critical mass of backlash to this stuff.
Yeah, and
like it's becoming a legitimate PR problem where, like, I don't know how many comments on the quick look for Shadow of War were just said like, fuck loot boxes, I'm not buying this.
The full conversation about Shadow of War is the loot boxes.
Yeah.
Like no one gives a shit about the deeper aspects of the game, of the actual game. Yeah. Which are a shame because, like we said, some of it's kind of neat. Yeah. But I understand.
It's really a shame for like all the artists and developers and the people who just like poured themselves into creating what seems like a very complex and rich and rewarding world. Same with Forza, like all the cars, and then just a few business people.
This problem has to start and stop with the business people, not the people
on
the ground making the games.
I suspect you're right, but also like it's the decision makers, and some of those people are the same ones that make the decisions that make the game what it is.
Yes,
so it's. You know, you want to simplify it to those damn suits, but there are people that are heads of studios.
Yeah,
there's
probably a continuum where producers are looking at game design and business, right? Et cetera, et cetera.
And so I don't want to lay blame with any specific department. Yeah, like the game comes out how it comes out. Yeah, and we can only guess at how it gets there.
It just seems like we're rapidly getting to a point where it may not be worth it to pursue strategies like this.
I wonder
for the amount of bad PR that's generating.
Like this stuff is then offset by was it like Activision coming out and saying like, hey, after game sales for us were in the hundreds of millions of dollars or something in Overwatch loot boxes or whatever, and so if the money is there, people are going to chase it.
That's fine. They just have to do it right.
Yeah. And also I think you have some studios making the case of like, hey, with the costs associated with us making these games now, they aren't getting cheaper to make. We then have to make that up somewhere, and either it's going to be are suddenly people going to start paying? It's why we see all these upgraded editions. There are 3 separate editions of Shadow of War on top of the fucking loot box shit,
Are there?
where they've got base silver and gold. And then Forza has, I believe, 3 SKUs as well of like, deluxe edition and ultimate edition or whatever. And that's just like, hey, do you want the season pass up front? And stuff like that.
Select your edition.
Exactly. So
Standard edition.
We're seeing more games have more editions and stuff like that.
I mean, even like Breath of the Wild selling a hard mode for $20
exactly.
or whatever.
Like that stuff's in games, and it's not great. But I don't know enough about the math involved that are like, would it be better for them if what if the on disc physical games that we think of as AAA or whatever you want to call it, what if those were $70 instead of $60?
Yeah.
Would that?
I've seen that exact conversation starting.
How would people react to that?
Or
negatively?
Because when did it was Activision that led the way on $60, right?
That sounds right.
I feel like, I swear it was like Bobby Kotick out there declaring like this is how things are going to be.
That sounds like something that would happen that way, but that may have just been more of a public, like a platform holder mandate around the 360 launch, right? Because that's when this more or less happened, right? Like first party games were 50 and everything else was 60.
Trying to find a date or something on this.
What if instead we took a long, deep look at American business practices and figured out a way that we could bring costs down and also pay people more?
Now you're getting to it's a complicated discussion.
Or we can just buy more loot boxes.
Right.
I don't know, that seems easier.
Yeah, it seems way easier than to just re-examine everything about the way people work and live. Yeah, so I don't know enough about the math to tell you. But also it may be the case that like the people that are spending extreme amounts of money on loot boxes make up for the people that are buying 0 loot boxes in a way that makes $60 still the right price point for them to maximize the money they're getting out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a business, and the businesses want to stay in business. I don't know if things would be that dire for them if they went back to the quote-unquote old way, but it seems like we're well past the point of that. But also, there's still such a variety of games coming out at different price points. Like, hey, SteamWorld Dig 2, no loot boxes.
Yeah.
Also not $60.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also a fantastic fucking game.
Yeah.
I would totally be... I would be way more willing to accept the bump of like average indie price from 15 to 20 than AAA from 60 to 70 or something like that. Like I would feel way more comfortable with that if it had to come to that.
Here is an article from 2006 on Forbes entitled "Why Gears of War Costs $60." Saw some people saying gun, like Activision third-party stuff.
Yeah.
Like around the 360 launch was the
Gun, worth every
first-
penny.
the first stuff to start coming out at $60.
Yeah, that sounds
I
right.
rented Gun and played it for 45 minutes and returned it.
That's about yeah. I played more of Gun than that. It had achievements. That was a dark time for me. Yeah. Yes, I don't know how the math works out on that stuff. But and obviously fucking none of these publishers do either, because they keep putting out stuff and pulling it back, and this VIP change and stuff like that. Like obviously they're trying to figure out what they can get away with.
Yeah.
On top of all this,
Which is unfortunately that is the line that's always going to be drawn. Is what they can get away with.
yeah.
How much is Blizzard making for loot boxes?
Hundreds
Billions?
of millions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of money. But also
Those
like
Halloween ones just dropped this morning.
and that stuff's all cosmetic. And,
Yeah, like it can't be said enough. Like Overwatch good.
They
Forza and Shadow of War maybe not so good.
The one thing I will say that is not good, in my opinion, of the Overwatch stuff is like the timed seasonal stuff, where it's like you're never going to get a chance to get this one again, like the Summer Olympics or whatever.
Yeah, but that's I guess
Because
that
then
does
it's like,
create some pressure to like
let's
maybe
say-
you should buy it so you make sure you get
limited
it.
edition virtual items are scummy.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that
Like-
part's
like
sucks.
the idea
That part
of,
sucks.
and I feel that way about the battlegrounds, like the crates that kind of came into the game and went out.
Yeah,
Like just make more stuff.
yeah.
Like,
But
as-
like in the like if somebody puts down like the 3 laws of loot boxes or whatever, like law number 1 should be shit in loot boxes should never affect the way the game plays.
Right.
yes.
And then because the stuff that does affect it, then we go back to EA selling cheat codes for their games. Like on the 360, when Tiger Woods was coming out and stuff like that, you could go give them $4.99 or something for like a career kickstart. This is
Yeah.
like, now you can create a golfer with full stats of 99 if you want.
Yeah.
And the wrestling games have done that in the past.
Shadow of War has stuff like that. It's got like timed XP boosts or like quality of gear drop boosts for 2 hours or whatever.
That and also to me, it being a single player game makes that feel even worse. The very idea, like at some point, and that's directly in line with how I felt about the EA stuff on the 360, because it was this thing of like, hey, you bought this game and like you're just gonna give them money to play less of it. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
And
In this case,
over the years, I've softened on that a little bit because, like, who am I? Like, if some fucking investment banker wants to buy a fucking game and then he's like, I'm too busy burning money in a big safe and oppressing people to play all of this game.
Yeah.
I need to give them another $9 because what do I care to
Or
buy?
100
Like,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, then fine. Like people have different amounts of time and different amounts of money, and if they want to do that, I guess that's okay. I think it's shitty, and I think it like when you get into single player games, I think it's just super lame.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
you get into multiplayer games, I think it potentially upsets the balance if you have gameplay stuff there. So it's bad at both ends.
It's worth mentioning that like I almost feel like I get gear too fast in this game and I level super fast. Like the progression is rapid in this game without any boost.
And
I'm really
I think that's how
curious.
the Destiny stuff ended up panning out in the end
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Is like you get a ton of that shit in a way that like you would have to be crazy.
Yeah. It
to
is
want to
actually
spend a lot of money
a
on
similar
Destiny.
thing to Destiny of like, oh, I just got a cool sword, and then 10 minutes later it's like, oh, I just got a better sword. You
Yeah.
know, like you
And you can't even get swords out of the boxes that they're dropping. So it's
so
anyway.
yeah.
The
Weird
Forza stuff, I don't think it fixes the problems with Forza,
Yeah.
but it does soften the blow for I think longtime fans that felt like especially taken advantage of by those changes to the VIP system. I think that's a bad that was a bad way to go, but there's kind of a longer list than that. So interesting that they pulled back on that so quickly, and that's the sort of stuff you wonder like, how did they not see this coming? Like, was that a fight internally where people like, hey, this is crazy, and then they lost the fight, and now are they walking around the studio going, fucking see?
Yeah.
See?
They probably just had a big long list of here's all the things we could possibly do, and that was maybe one of the least egregious ones.
Maybe.
Like just like with the Destiny shader stuff though, like you can't violate your own precedent. You know, it's like if you give it to people one way and then in the next game you give it to them in a much worse way.
You have to make
like,
something new.
Right.
You
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
do
Like
something
you have to come up
Exactly.
with something
Yeah.
different to screw people with. Like
Yeah.
you can't take things away that they already had, or they're just going to get pissed off. Like that's pretty fucking basic.
You're right, but also I think the shader conversation is dead.
Yeah, because they're not going to relent. You know,
Yeah,
like people.
They're not going to relent, and like,
And you get a zillion
You get
of
a
them.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you don't get a zillion of the good ones necessarily. But
Well, that's you could only get the black one by pre-ordering Call of Duty.
Yeah.
That's probably kind of worse.
yeah.
Though I did pre-order Call of Duty, and I got that black shader. And it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a fucking. It's all a mess, and I think everyone's got to draw their own lines on it. For me, those lines are usually fairly clear because it's when stuff is cosmetic and it's a game that I like. To me, it's always a tip jar sort of situation where it's like I feel great about this game. I'm playing a lot of it. I'm going to invest some money into it
It's like
because I like it
It's
a
like
lot.
the old thing about art, right? Like you know it when you see it, right? Like
Yeah.
like you will know player-friendly microtransactions when you see and pay for them. You know,
Though sometimes exactly.
like it's just a judgment call in every game. If it
and I
feels
think that,
valuable
that
and
stuff
you feel,
smells bad out of the
Yeah.
gate. Like the Lord of the Rings stuff feels terrible out of the gate, and like you're playing a ton of the game and you don't know because you haven't seen it yet that
Right.
the end of the game is where it like shifts into chaos mode.
Yeah.
But the pieces are in place in such a way that it feels bad regardless.
yes, or you have a suspicion, or you feel
Yeah.
like you're on guard the whole
Yeah,
time.
and
Like,
that's maybe the worst thing that these things do is
Yeah.
you play the game looking for the hook.
Yeah.
You play the game looking for the part where they flip it on you and sucker you. And I think
Right.
that's what a lot of NBA 2K18 players experienced this year, because the progression in that changed in a way that had a lot of people feeling like it was pushing them towards buying credits in a way that it hadn't in the past.
Yeah.
People are extremely wary of the WWE game this year because they put out a bunch of screenshots of blind boxes being opened. And it sounds like they had to come out and say that is only for one mode and it is not paid. It is a thing.
While you were talking about Forza, I had to Google Assassin's Creed Origins because that has it's just come out in the last few days that has boxes, but apparently
Of course it does.
apparently you can't buy them with real money.
Okay.
They are in-game currency only.
All right.
There are cosmetics you can buy with real money, but you can earn those as well. So that sounds less
Yeah.
scummy than some of the stuff we're talking about here, but like it's everywhere. Like that's kind of the thing this fall,
Yeah.
it seems.
And I don't know where the budgets come out in terms of like, are these games profitable without that stuff?
Yeah.
Or are they viable without that stuff? Or does do they need
That's-
to make more than $60
Yeah.
off of the average consumer?
That is the real question that they're never going to come out and say, right? It's
But my understanding is that the answer is yeah, kinda. Like with the way stuff has gone, like
Yeah.
and it's going to be different for every studio,
Yeah.
obviously. But
Yeah.
that the basic understanding is like, yeah, we kind of need to make sure that we're getting a little bit extra on average, and that means they're accounting for people that spend $0 additional dollars and hoping for some whales along the way to support it.
right.
Um,
Yeah, I guess it's really a question of is it development got more expensive and we need to make more, or is it just we need to maximize shareholder value by making as much money as we possibly can?
But yeah, and we live in a
is way
world
less
where like
easy
game
to swallow.
jobs fucking disappear in a puff of smoke.
Yeah.
You look at Volition, you look at they're that layoffs just happen, and you start to wonder like, okay, is this the stuff they're doing to stave off like, okay, we want to keep our studio intact, so we have to hit these goals that are above and beyond what the goals used to be. It's like the system is the problem.
I mean, what it comes down to is what are the margins? Like,
yeah,
like are you guys making razor thin margins that just barely allow you to keep making games,
right.
or are you just trying to make as much money as humanly
Yeah,
possible?
yes. And are you maximizing shareholder value,
Yes.
or are you staying afloat?
Because like one of those
And
is
is the answer
one of those is way more acceptable than
right?
the other.
But yeah. But also then it gets back to like the scope of a game. Like maybe this means games need to scale back and focus on smaller, more attainable goals at the AAA at the super expensive level.
At the same time that the Battlefront 2 beta comes out with like bar graphs of how much more stuff it has.
Yeah, it's
than
like
the first
literally
game.
it's like a marketing video
Yeah.
in that thing,
Yeah.
and that thing has also got boxes in it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like I'm having such a great time with so many smaller games in the $15 to $20 range now that like I still feel really great about the state of video games. If anything, this stuff is self-correcting over time, right? If players eventually walk away from this shit in favor of the golf stories of the world, then so be it. But you want to talk about something that like disrupts an entire industry when the games, if that were to happen and the games making all the money were games that don't tax the power of these consoles at all, and they're trying to fucking sell these mid-console upgrades that push 4K as like to the front of the feature list, and then hey, great time to be a Nintendo Switch owner if that fucking comes to pass.
Yeah.
Because that's the exact right power range for the types of games that I'm digging the most.
Can you imagine how shitty Nintendo designed loot box systems would be? Like with
like every single heartstring, they can pull on, like they've got every tool at their disposal
like
if they fully lean into it.
yeah, they've got every tool at their disposal, and they're terrible at designing everything around video games.
But what does that box opening animation look like? It's
it's
Lakitu
amazing.
fucking with the box
the
on a
best
hook,
that
fucking
you've ever
floating
seen.
in, and
It's going to make you feel things you haven't felt since you were 8 years old.
Or it's
that's
like
the guy from Wrecking Crew.
Yep.
you know it's like the boxes at the end of Mario 3 that rotate through all the stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Given their feelings on achievements, maybe that's not something
And
we
their
need to worry
feelings on,
about.
like even just the monetization on the mobile stuff they've issued so far.
Yeah,
Like,
it's been
obviously
pretty-
they've like Zelda has a season pass,
Yeah,
and that felt like,
Yeah.
but that is still like an accepted norm now. Season passes,
Yeah.
like that used to be the
But
thing.
you gotta
to get
have a
angry.
season.
And also,
pass.
you
course.
couldn't buy those packs piecemeal. You had to buy the season pass
right?
and take both of them.
Yeah,
Because only the second one that's not out yet has new actual like story content. The first one was just like difficulty modes.
I mean, fuck, man, that Metroid game hides a difficulty mode behind an amiibo.
yeah.
Nintendo's got its own weird shit going on.
Sure.
Don't forget that.
Yeah.
It's a business at the end of the day. I think you want to. There's certainly a lot of people in that business of making games that want to do right by their players, but at the end of the day, it is still a business, and businesses act like businesses, and it sucks, but that's the way stuff goes. I don't know if players started rejecting it whole cloth and stopped. you know, if there was an effective way to kind of do the vote with your dollars thing in a way that said like, hey, these non-cosmetic boxes are the problem, and that's why Overwatch sold a lot of boxes, and that's why your fucking get me a new sword box is bullshit. Then I think you could breed it out of games over the next few years.
Yeah.
But it's not going to change overnight, and I think you have enough players that are extremely casual about the games they play and don't really give a shit, and they'll be the people. It's not the fucking people that are like living and breathing games that are into this shit. It's not for them.
Yeah.
That's the cosmetic boxes and that sort of stuff. Those are it's the hat whales of the world that love video games and love hats. But it's the players that don't have an endless amount of time to play, much less think about video games, that buy one game a month, if that are going to then further invest. Yeah. And they're gonna go like, oh yeah, I guess, I mean, I don't know, what's $3? Sure, I'll buy a sword. Like, you know, it's that's where they're gonna make it on these non-cosmetic boxes.
Yeah.
Because everyone else is used to playing games and trying to game systems as a matter of playing a lot of video games.
Right.
So they know better.
Yep.
But there's enough of those people to, justify
Exactly.
Yeah.
still having that
At
stuff
the end of the day,
in there.
there's enough of those people probably to make this stuff work out in the end, even in light of the negative, like sentiment that it creates.
What a mess.
Yeah, right. Remember when
Big messy thing.
it used to be so simple.
Yeah.
EA sold cheat codes for games, and Bethesda
said,
sold
"Nah."
horse armor, and you said this is all garbage.
Yep. And you went on with your day.
And then suddenly, like, they're like, well, what if the game was free? Would you feel better about the horse armor then?
Man, horse armor seems so quaint now.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in the studio upstairs on the hotspot talking about that.
Yeah. And it, you know, but you know, and trends happen. You know, things change, and you know, and now like that would think about how that would be viewed now, or except for the part where they did it as part of the Creators Club, and it was
Just put out
actually
new horse
like
armor.
the way the Creators Club is built is actually a much different and fucked problem.
But I remember, like, it wasn't that many years after Horse Armor that the thing became, like, post-game DLC that had, like, the real ending locked up in it.
Oh, well,
like,
yeah,
there was a
that's-
year where that was big.
Yeah.
Like, it's, the pendulum has gone all over the place
Yeah.
from year to year.
A lot of it's bad.
Yeah. Indeed.
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Speaking of a company trying to win back
Wait.
longtime fans,
Did you look over my shoulder?
no,
at
you
what the
sent
next
out
news
you
story?
sent out
Oh,
the
right.
email
That's
with all
right.
the news.
Oh, you actually read the news. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I was gonna say, speaking of
Man.
a company trying to win back longtime fans scorned by terrible business practices.
That's probably a better segue than I would have come up with for the next story. Do you guys have strong feelings on Street Fighter V Arcade Edition?
I all I have to say is that there are people out there saying, "Man, they said they'd never do this," but no, that
like
is not what they
sell
said.
a new version of
Yeah.
the game with a new title on it.
This is all so the Street Fighter V Arcade Edition.
Yes.
It's a Game of the Year edition type version that's going to be like all the season 1 and 2 DLC.
Yep, all the characters from season 1, 2.
They're also adding an arcade mode and all the other stuff.
and a challenge mode.
Yeah.
with like the bonus, car crush stuff and
Okay.
all stuff.
Yeah,
but
like,
like-
it sounds like that arcade mode. They are making it in the image of Street Fighter 2,
Yeah,
the arcade game.
Yeah,
Like
and
you'll punch a car halfway through.
The cool thing, I saw some screenshots and I saw them talk about it a little bit, is like you're playing through like the chronology of the Street Fighter game. Have you seen that screenshot?
they've
That's like
That sounds cool.
like enemies. Yeah, like it.
it
Okay.
seems
it's
like
still going to be an arcade mode.
Yeah.
It's just
I
going to
mean,
have a menu on it.
Here's the wording the Capcom put out. In the upcoming arcade mode, players can reminisce in the Street Fighter series history as they celebrate the last 30 years
back
of the
when it was
multi-million.
good.
Choose from 6 different paths and compete in matches against CPU opponents to reveal unique endings, blah, blah, blah. But like, I took that, you can reminisce about the history as if they were just saying like, hey, it has an arcade mode just like those old games. But I didn't realize you're actually playing the stories of those old games.
Well,
that's kind of cool.
sort of.
Like you're playing through
They're
like,
like-
Alpha Group characters.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then regular
okay.
Street Fighter.
Yeah, it's
3
less like
characters, and
it sounds more like the fucking choose a tower at the start of Mortal Kombat,
Yeah,
but
okay.
instead of it being a difficulty, it's a cluster of characters to fight.
they're adding new not critical arts. What are they called?
V-triggers.
V-triggers.
That's
for
cool.
the
I mean,
characters.
that seems to be the biggest change to gameplay, is allowing for choice of V trigger, kind of like how Ultra was.
Yeah, and all this stuff will come to the base game as well. Like this
right.
is not so and that's what they said they would not do
Yes.
is release an update that breaks compatibility.
Right.
Yeah.
that Street Fighter V is a platform. But
Existing
even then,
owners get it for free, $40 buy-in if you want
that
the
doesn't mean
disc,
they get
but-
the season 1 and 2 characters. That's all still for sale. It
Right.
just means that like this is a package. Like the arcade edition is effectively a Street Fighter V bundle
Yes.
for $40.
for $40.
Yeah. They're also
It's a good
redoing.
price, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to be clear, everything but the 2 seasons of DLC characters you're getting for free.
And I think colors and costumes
Well, yeah,
might come as part of this.
and
but
like
yes.
microtransaction.
And then
stuff.
the new
Or-
challenge mode thing I saw, it's a different challenge fight every week, and if you do all 4 of them in a month, you get a special costume for free.
Yes,
that's cool.
Yes,
Um,
they did mention. You're right.
That is
yeah,
cool.
rotating costume bonuses. Like,
But
it
yeah.
sounds okay.
This is,
Yeah.
there's value
fine,
in
but-
releasing new discs with updates on them for like tournament organizers and stuff. People that have to like download fucking patches to like a dozen PS4, 100 PS4s.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens regardless. So like adding
guess
this
so,
is not
yeah.
gonna.
I guess it
change
doesn't
their
necessarily save it. They'll still have to get online and get
Yeah.
whatever latest balance patches. But
Yeah.
it'll be a smaller patch.
flow. Yeah, perhaps
No, actually, well, no, it probably won't.
they'll probably get discs.
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
Street
I'm
Fighter
kinda-
deserves this.
Yeah,
Street
this-
Fighter deserves something better than they got in Street Fighter V. And I'm glad that Capcom is been like they've talked up a big game about how they wanted to fix Street Fighter.
Sure.
It looks like they're making good steps in that direction. They could be moving faster, obviously, but I don't know. As a on record Street Fighter V, not hater, I guess just like
Skeptic.
skeptic, sure.
Yeah.
This all seems like decent progress.
They are trudging forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, like whether the changes are making the game better or not, they're
Right.
still working on it.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm looking forward to seeing the new
and,
UI.
and that's something that like,
God.
I mean, if they're like that's a much better like price for that product.
Yes.
With those additional characters
don't
and
know.
stuff like that. Like
There's so many like sales out there where you can get Street Fighter V for $20.
oh yeah.
It's
but not any of the
Yeah, this is-
download stuff, right?
true.
No, but
Well,
all
I
those
think some of that
characters
stuff is
combined
discounted
is
as well,
is
but-
going to be close to that price point. I don't know. This feels like a good like, hey, if you didn't play Street Fighter V because you heard a bunch of shit about how bad it was, but you're kind of interested because like the last Evo was really good. The top 8 for Street Fighter showed that this game has potential. It has legs. It's got a lot of new blood in there. Like not a lot of up and coming players. Like keeping the scene alive. So this is your chance to hop in and just kind of
Anyone that like watched Evo and like they already got Street Fighter 5 or anyone that like would watch Evo and take away from it like I want to play / get better at a game, I feel like those people would have already bought the game.
This one in particular. Yes.
Yes,
I think-
because
I
it's
think you're
Street
right.
Fighter.
Yeah.
It's,
I don't
it's
know.
it's the grand final game.
I watched an Evo before I got seriously into Street Fighter, and even if it doesn't get them buying the new thing, it gets them playing it, and then when they release season 4 characters,
Right.
it keeps them in the ecosystem
Yes,
of wanting to
definitely. Yeah.
raise fight money and
I think for people that didn't buy the game yet because it was all fucked up, like this is a decent entry point price wise for what you get out of it.
yeah.
Whether I don't know that any of this brings me back to the game in a more serious way. The game is still the game.
Yeah.
But those sound like cool addition, like another V trigger, like selectable V trigger per character. That's neat. Okay, sure.
Yep.
I don't think it. Again, I don't think that changes the way I feel about it.
Yeah,
but
the re-
cool.
The rest of the stuff, I really couldn't care less. I mean,
Isn't Ryu's new V trigger Evil Ryu?
I don't
I think
know.
I don't know if that was a leak or speculation, like from screenshots, but I think he like switches into Evil Ryu mode.
Okay. Sounds pretty all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gameplay changes. I'm mostly looking forward to that. I want a rework of just their microtransaction stuff, how you get costumes
The
and
fight
stages.
money costume stuff, like it's nice that they provided some kind of path to get that stuff
But
with
dude,
the
those-
in-game currency, but the whole thing just seems fucking.
Some stuff you can only get with real money, and then even if you do get enough fight money, that shit is super expensive. Like for a fucking
it is
stage
huge grind for that stuff.
No, and yeah, with like the survival mode being one of the big ways that you get
Yeah.
colors and fucking money,
And then daily quests all of a sudden that they added, so like none of that stuff. I
shit-
feel like for
that
all
shit
intents and
sucks.
purposes, all that stuff is just for sale with real money.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I'm sure there's someone out there who didn't spend anything over the $60 out of the gate and bought everything they could with fight money because they fucking played it forever and went crazy and good on them. But also, at some point, is that was that a good use of your time, or should you have just
No.
spent the additional $20 on this stuff? Or yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure I would have just like spent the extra money just to get that stuff. Maybe I'm part of the problem, but
yeah,
the
I
path
don't
to
know.
like getting that stuff is shady and just.
It
gross.
feels like
I don't
it's there
it.
to check a box,
Yeah.
not in a way that actual humans would do it
Right.
at a grand scale. Maybe you get like a costume, or you go like, oh, I got a title
hmm
with some of my fight money. Hooray!
That
Yeah.
doesn't do much for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not gonna get me. That
Yeah,
back
it
in
doesn't. It doesn't matter. But also, like, I don't have a problem with them selling extra characters for the game. Like that's
Yeah.
a pretty standard thing, and
I get that. I
you know.
totally do. But I want more characters, and I want them released at a more rapid pace.
well, that's I mean, yeah. If you want to get back to their pipeline, like
Right.
they're this is what we're is this 2 years in? This has come out in January, right?
March.
yeah,
okay.
around March, I think.
So will that be like 2 years at that point? That'll be about 2 years.
A little
A
more.
little
'cause
over.
We've seen
it
two
was like
Evos.
February. It was like February.
Been like a year and a half.
I remember because
Plus-
when my honeymoon ended up going weird and we bailed on it and went home early, then you sent me a Street Fighter code, and then while I was off technically for my honeymoon, I started playing Street Fighter.
Good man.
We went to a bad hotel. We fucking made a bad call on where to go, and then got there and was like, oh, this is a fucking boondoggle. Like this place doesn't even have hot water. Like we were there, had some fun, hung out, and we're like, you want to go home early? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, as a couple, we are the ultimate. You just want to go home
Yep.
now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you just want to maybe
Always.
I think
bail on
you're
this
amongst
thing?
friends
Yeah.
on this one.
I love you.
should we just bail on this thing? Yeah, we should. Yeah.
Take our pants off.
So that's the thing to know.
When did they release or like announce Geese Howard? Like at Evo?
Yes.
Was it?
It was Evo.
When is he fucking coming out?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's still figuring out how to walk in that third dimension.
Besides
He's
just
used to
like hopping.
Yeah. What if he just did that?
Yep.
What if that was his only? Oh man, his only movement was just a hop backwards, but he could keep hopping backwards. I played some Tekken bowling. Speaking of Tekken,
Yeah, I tried that out too. Yep.
played it once and went like, yeah, you
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. You can knock down pins. You get a
Yeah.
score. That's all right.
Mhm.
That's fun. Once.
There's a novel unlockable that you're like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Is that
And
in
then
the
when it-
game or was that part of
It's
DLC?
part of DLC. When it became part of DLC, you're like, this is not good enough for anything to to
Yeah.
attach additional dollars to.
I need some sort of versus thing. I need,
Yeah.
I need a Tekken ball or some shit like that. But bowling's not going to do it.
Nah.
Nah.
What about Tekken? Like when you fight in Tekken, like
what-
versus
what is
You
that?
can do
Tekken?
that?
like versus mode.
You can do that.
You mean like where you pick Heihachi and you hit square, square, triangle
Yeah.
over and over?
Yeah.
Is this on
Sometimes
top
that's the
of
one.
the stuff that I do
It's-
to get new hats and banners?
Yeah, it's in
Sometimes
the-
you hit down
it's
and
in a different
square and then
menu.
triangle.
Weird. I don't know about that. That sounds. No.
Should we play more Tekken?
It's good.
Yeah.
Tekken's
Tekken's
good.
Tekken 7's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like we fell off of it too
I haven't.
fast.
Yeah, I haven't touched it in a long time.
Maybe we should get it back into Tekken.
I played some over the last week. It's a good game.
If
That's
I were
great.
going to play a fighting game right now, it would probably be that one.
Yeah.
Jason, do you want to talk about God Eater 3?
Oh, so much.
You got 1 minute.
God damn it. Yeah, not much to say. Finally announced. It's going to be God Eater 3. The trailer that they showed is just kind of cinematic stuff, but they do show a little bit of gameplay at the end of it. Dual weapons. That's a big deal.
Okay.
So you got 2 God arcs on your fucking wrists, whereas everything else has just been the one.
You can eat 2 gods at the same time. Is that-
Probably.
All right.
No. So yeah, this particular weapon was a dual blade. But in typical God Eater fashion, your weapons transform, and there's usually 3 forms, right? So there's the normal melee stuff. There's a shield, and then there's like a ranged attack. This one had a 4th one, where it kind of put the blades together into like a, I don't know, Darth Maul like lightsaber type thing. So I don't know if like all of the weapons are going to get like a 4th transformation, or if just this one in particular. But yeah, we'll see how that shakes out. They only showed 1 character, so they weren't really focusing on multiplayer stuff. But man, it looked really good.
Is this the first God Eater that didn't start on like the PSP or something crazy?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
this-
The first God Eater, yeah, was PSP.
Or the,
But is this the first one that doesn't have roots in a portable game?
yeah, that's what I mean.
Because
Because they did not announce what platforms this is coming out on.
They didn't.
According to the story I found,
they said like modern consoles
they,
or something. Like
home
that.
console is
Home-
the phrase that they use.
Right.
So,
I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Atari box.
yep,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Yep, that'll be one.
but
Switch
I
would
just
be great,
mean this
but-
is a fully new game from the ground up, right? Not
Yeah,
because
and they-
like Resurrection was like a port from PSP to PS4, right?
Yeah,
Or was it Vita to PS4?
PSP to Vita. The first one, it started off as PSP, eventually became Vita and
Right,
PS.
and then a PS4 game. Like it's just a weird lineage.
It's been on, all over the place.
Much like what I'm getting at is much like Monster Hunter. It would be nice to see one of these games actually made for a real console.
Yeah, this one's going to be the first big one that's. I mean, no. I got Eater 2, essentially. Well, that was simultaneous Vita and Big Boy console.
Yeah,
This
so it's
one,
still kind of the same thing.
kind of the same thing. And they've had some mobile ports as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which one has your
but
heart?
those are original ones.
This or Monster Hunter? If you had to pick, if you could only live in a world with one.
Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. God Eater's a really good, just like side thing, you know? Yeah. Got some side action.
Side action in,
Side
Seriously,
piece.
in between.
It's easy. Like I can slide in real quick and just like have some fun.
I mean, I saw Monster Hunter I saw God Eater hanging out with Mugman. I just thought I'd let you know.
Dude, that's all right. Yeah, we've
Okay.
Yeah,
You got
we've
an
talked
understanding.
about
Oh, it's
that. We
okay.
have an
All right.
understanding.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Good to know.
I love them both for different
Okay.
reasons.
All right.
But I'm excited.
I pulled this because it was looking like a slow news week. Valve tweeted about how they are making a new version of DE Dust 2
What?
for Counter-Strike Go.
Okay.
But the main reason that I put this in here is that the wording in their tweet is coming soon for testing in CSGO's next beta depot, an updated, refined version of its most iconic map, Dust 2.
Yeah.
What happened to Dust?
Nobody remembers
Since
Dust.
when is Dust
Yeah.
2 the map?
It's the map.
Fuck, man.
Dust 2 was the,
I feel
yeah.
incredibly old.
Does
nobody
so
play Dust
well
anymore?
designed, man. It's got that long stretch on the side.
When people
It's
say
got
they're
the
playing Dust,
over,
they're really
under.
playing Dust 2.
Dust has some long stretches. It's got that dip under that bridge.
Dust isn't even in my top 2 because I can only. I mean, I can think of. I can think of multiple. I was gonna say top 3, but there's no like third iconic one. It's Dust 2 and Office are the two that
Office.
I always go to.
No, that's a classic Counter-Strike map. Am I really just that old and out of touch that I did
This
not?
ain't your father's
I did not-
Counter-Strike. This is
Seriously.
CSGO.
This ain't even 1.6.
I seriously, I
1.6
seriously
was a
didn't-
Dust 2 man's
I
game.
seriously didn't know that people don't play Dust anymore.
Are they gonna call it Dust
Okay.
2 2?
Okay, I don't know.
I hope so.
They can't call it Dust 3, right? Because it's a refinement of 2, and also it's a Valve.
What if it's
thing.
Dust 2.1?
Dust 2
Dust
episode
2 episode
1?
3.
Is this like when they changed the Dota map?
What if it's just Dust episode 3? 10 years since the release of episode 2. Speaking of
Oh.
Valve.
Oh,
Okay,
congratulations!
a lot of milestones for that Valve.
Looking
totally
forward
does
to
not care
episode
about.
3.
Nobody at Valve cares at all. All right. Lastly, just a real quick note on story from last week. I got it wrong with Andrew House. He is leaving Sony at the end of the year.
Yes.
That's the thing I got wrong. He is transitioning into the chairman's position now,
right.
and only through
Oh.
the end of the year, not
And then he will be.
not becoming chairman at the end of the year and staying on like I
Yeah.
thought.
That was, it was the some of the reporting. Yeah. Some of the it was hard to decipher some
Yeah.
of that stuff, but I think after the podcast, I went and read up a
Yeah,
little
I
more.
think
I was
I
like,
think
oh,
I just-
yeah,
I
dude's out.
misread the press release, but yeah, he's going to be fully gone from Sony by the end of the year, which is a big deal because he's been there stewarding the PlayStation thing since it started.
Yeah, he's been a big part of Sony through a lot of its ups and downs.
Yeah.
Most recently up.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Yes,
And
going out on a high.
yeah, for sure.
Let's say.
We'll see what the that's
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what that means for Sony down the line.
Yeah.
He was a big part of that company.
Yes.
And as I understand it, very well liked by a lot of the people there. So that's we'll see. Is John Codera,
Codera,
I think is
Yeah.
stepping into the role.
Yes.
We'll see how that goes.
Yes. All right, emails. Let's read some.
Oh yeah.
Podcast@giantbomb.com.
Here are the emails you picked this week.
Okay.
Brad took
Sure.
back the emails because he
That's
said
right.
I did too many about Wappy Dog.
That's,
Yeah.
One is one too many. Nathan from Tumwater, Washington.
That's not a real place. What?
Tub water.
Hi, Bomb.
I gotta pass some tum water. That's
Ugh.
what?
Hi, Bomb. What's your policy on spiders in the shower?
Against?
I'm not for them. Yeah.
Down the drain they go. Is
But
my
what's your
policy.
plan though? Like, you know,
Spray the. I mean, I got a
spray 'em.
detachable shower head, and I just aim it.
yeah.
and-
Okay.
I think it depends on where they're at. There are safe zones in the shower where I will like live and let live.
Yeah. Like what?
Um,
Like, are we talking on the ceiling?
Yeah.
Like, I would definitely not spray the ceiling to
I
get a spider
have,
down.
I have, depending on the quality of the spider, depending on the specific nature
What
of
is-
the spider.
What's your spider chart?
If it
what kind of
looks
quality are we
fucked
talking?
up, I kill it.
If it looks like it could be juicy.
Yeah, exactly. If
Yeah.
it looks like visible hair on that thing, it's going the fuck down.
If you're going to hear and feel a crunch when you squish it.
yeah,
Yeah.
If it seems like something that might want to start some shit with me, I fucking bomb first.
Which is
man.
like no spider ever. They're mostly chill. But
I feel like
Yeah,
I've
I'm
seen
anti.
I've seen a rise in the attitude recently that you should live and let live with all spiders because they keep your house bug free.
Sure, that's great, but they also
they are
fucking jump
themselves
at you
bugs.
and like
Yeah.
want to kill you.
they're
as
hell
well.
bugs. They're worse than bugs.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can get bitten by a spider and get a big pussy weird thing on you, and
Yeah.
then suddenly for the rest of your life you got a weird flat spot on your stomach, and people are like, "What happened there?" And you're like, "Spider bite."
Yeah. 6 legs bad, 8 legs worse.
Definitely.
I don't give a fuck about legs. If you're a bug, just stay out of my shit.
Yeah.
If you're a bug, stay out of our
Stay
shit.
out of our shit.
You're a bug and you're listening. All right. Here's an email from Ryan. Hey, duders. Eric Estrada came up briefly on the latest UPF. Thought I would write in and mention.
Seems like that's right.
don't
Yeah,
remember that.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
No, he was daggering. He was in the daggering section.
Well, then this email may interest you. Thought I would write in and mention that I met him just the other day at the Reno airport. The same
This all
airport.
checks out.
The same airport where I met Flava Flav just a year prior.
Okay.
Mr. Estrada was introducing himself to others as Tony Orlando. Also, despite being on a flight to Dallas, he told folks he was flying to Nashville to sign memorabilia, flying to the Caribbean to visit a club, or simply that he was a cop going on a vacation.
I like that.
The last claim was backed up with a fake police badge he was carrying. Just thought I would update you on what he's doing, which is apparently telling people
That's
whatever the fuck he wants to.
Yeah.
He
why
was
not?
extremely nice to everyone.
That's super illegal, right? To say I'm a cop and then flash a fake
To have
badge.
a flash of fake badge. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
God, are we-
probably.
did we
Unless
just
you've played one.
did we just narc by proxy on Eric
know.
Estrada?
Look, I'll directly narc on
Yeah.
Eric Estrada.
Man,
That dude is Holden.
He played a cop. He should know what
That's
cops do.
or maybe that gives him lifetime privilege though.
Yeah, guess.
I feel like if you were a cop and you saw Eric Estrada pretending to be a cop, you give him a pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Like-
like, hold my gun
Yeah.
for a picture.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, and also like, dude, seriously, don't do this. but whatever. I mean, whatever. But like, dude,
Be cool.
I love chips, but like,
well, yeah, like, come on. What do you think of the new chips? Bad, right? Anyway,
I liked that you were in it.
yeah.
Ryan included a picture of him and Eric Estrada.
All right.
He looked.
This checks out.
He appears to be having a good time at the airport.
Great. You know, at the airport, we all have to find ways to entertain
true.
ourselves.
That's true.
So,
Very true. Chris from Virginia. How often do publishers send codes for in-game consumables and/or loot boxes with review copies of games? Have you ever felt compelled to purchase such items in order to write an informed review? Like never.
Yeah.
Almost never.
well,
almost never.
I was, yeah. For individual consumables, no,
Yeah.
that doesn't really happen.
The
But
only
you'll have a
exception-
case where, like, you'll get a code that will be for the high-end version of the
Oh
game.
yeah, that happens.
Which is like the
as often as not, I would say.
the middle. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's like base level minimum. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
For Middle Earth, I think it was the gold
Yeah,
edition of the
I got
game.
the code rang up as the
for
gold
Forza,
edition.
it was the ultimate edition
Yeah,
of the game.
I feel like
but
it's
sometimes, quite often, it'll also just be
Just
the
be the
standard
standard,
$60
Yeah.
edition.
For Injustice, they sent the code for the base version of the game and then sent a like season pass code
sometimes
like a
they'll-
week later.
Sometimes they'll follow up, but for games with limitless microtransactions,
Yeah,
like
no,
we're talking about here, like I can't remember a case where they've ever sent anything.
I have
for
definitely
you to buy those things.
I have definitely purchased boxes in games specifically to know what it feels like.
Yeah, me too.
And the thing is, like with Destiny, I felt comfortable buying a silver pack because I had gotten the game for review purposes, and I was like, I don't feel bad doing this. Like, I'd feel a little worse if I had already spent $60 on this game. But like, hey, maybe some of this money goes back to the people who made the game, and like, it's a way of like experiencing it cleanly.
I suppose. Yeah. I think. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think I've done that as well.
Yeah.
In the case of like Dauntless, like I actually shelled out the money for the big premium pack because I want to support that game.
I spent a
But-
bunch of money on Warframe at one point because I was into Warframe for a weekend, and I was just like, I want to see what this is like.
Yeah.
What's the high roller Warframe experience like? And it turns out it just opens you up to a bunch of menus that you just don't understand at all because you have not played enough Warframe.
Yeah. As we've mentioned before, Valve unfortunately added the ability to see how much money you've spent on individual games.
Oh boy.
Is that for every game, or not just
Is it for
Dota?
every game or is it just Dota?
I haven't seen.
I've only ever checked on it for Dota,
Yeah,
which
same.
I have spent.
I've seen like
Way too
like
much
how
money
much is
on
your
it.
Steam account worth? Shit like that.
There's
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but this was specifically for microtransactions
Oh,
on individual
God.
games. You can drill down in that game and see how
Oh.
much. Like
Huh.
I've spent hundreds of dollars on Dota.
Yeah,
Justified because like
I spent
played,
like 160. I
played
think.
thousands of hours of that game.
Yeah.
Or thousands.
I'm
of
coming
matches.
up on hour 6,000.
Nice.
How much of that is watching or sitting
That's
in
the thing,
chat
like,
or
I had a
waiting
12-hour day where I played no games.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I was like waiting for people
Yeah,
or
right.
like walking away from my computer.
Yeah,
So it's,
sometimes you just forget and leave the client on overnight.
It's hard to tell,
I go
but-
by matches played because that's
Yeah.
a harder number. I think I'm 1,600 matches or something like that.
I think I'm like around 3,000.
Wow.
That's too much Dota.
Yeah, but it's also in a way not enough.
Never
Dota.
enough. I mean, you're still here and not spending esports millions somewhere, so clearly it's not enough Dota.
I'm on like an 8-game win streak. It feels so good.
Nice.
Stop while you're at.
God, I'm in the period of the year where Dota doesn't exist. Like there's so many games coming out right now. It's just like I've got to.
It's my like palate
cannot.
cleanser.
Yeah.
I'll play a game of Dota like after Cuphead or something, and
Yeah.
it'll reset me.
Carlos from Massachusetts. Which is more valuable, a PS4 with PT still installed or a PS3 with Linux? Asking for a friend.
So you can't install Linux on there anymore, right?
Yeah,
I think
they took
if
out
it's-
the latest firmware, took out the other OS functionality.
Okay.
That happened a long time ago,
Yeah.
right? So you would have to be on a really old firmware to install Linux. At this
Exactly.
point.
That's why it's
I think.
like PT. It's
Yeah.
now something you can't do
Right.
unless you happen to be in a specific situation.
I've never tested it because I never had an extra. Well, I guess we could test it on one of these Office PS4s, but I see tricks going around all the
Yeah.
time involving like proxy DNS servers and stuff to still get
you
PT.
there are ways to get PT on a PS4.
Okay.
It sounds like
Okay.
downgrading the firmware on a PS3 to the point where you could put Linux on it. I don't think that's a thing.
Yeah.
Unless you're cracking open a PS3 and doing all kinds of weird shit to it.
What's the practicality of putting Linux on a PS?
You're just running Linux.
Yeah. I mean,
also,
there were
like-
some development tools like you could develop. You couldn't like make full-on games necessarily, but I think you could.
I think
do
you have
some
access to the
development, right?
system and stuff. But anyway, there are other reasons why having a low firmware PS3 makes it a valuable device, and very little of it has to do with installing Linux.
Huh. Okay.
But yeah, so those things. I mean, if you're asking what's worth more, like in a pure monetary value,
Yeah.
I
Or
think
even just in a sense of which one is more useful. Maybe I'm not quite sure how to interpret his question.
yeah,
but
I don't know.
I don't know that he's
It's-
looking to move PS3s with Linux, but
Yeah, I don't know.
that's probably the rarer thing,
Yeah,
right?
probably.
Yeah. Okay. Did you ever do that?
Nope.
It wasn't like the God. Well, okay. So there was the Yarze
Right.
for PS1,
Then there was the PS2 Linux kit
PS2
that was like
that came with the hard drive,
yeah,
right?
I bought that.
Right. So in that case, you had to buy stuff.
Yeah, you bought it was a package deal that they sold. The hard drive, it was the first way you could get a hard drive for a
Right,
PS2
right.
before any game supported it. So it was a dumb thing for me to purchase. And it came with but the other thing is it came with a PlayStation 2 branded USB keyboard and USB mouse.
That's right. Yeah.
It's like just a really weird thing to have.
Yeah.
Um,
And was it a
and it
full?
came with a modem, I think, also because the modem has to screw in
Right.
to keep the hard drive in.
Yes. Wait, weren't they part of the same unit?
No.
No.
No, it bolted together.
Okay.
the modem screwed onto the same thing, but you didn't have to have a hard drive there. But
Okay.
if you had the hard drive there, you would put the modem plate in behind it.
Okay.
It would all screw in.
And then remember the super skinny PS2, tiny slim.
Yeah, yeah.
Did that have? Was that a modem or an Ethernet port?
This is-
in
yeah,
that
they
thing?
put an Ethernet port
Ethernet.
on it at that
Okay.
point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was that just raw Linux that you were installing on a PS2, or was that some weird?
Yeah, well, I
Contained
think it
thing.
ended up being Linux for whatever processor the fucking PS2 had in
yeah.
it or whatever. But
But then PS3, did you have to buy anything, or
No.
you could just
No,
like go
you just-
online and get the thing
yeah,
and plug it in?
I think so.
That seems insane in this day and age
Yeah,
that they left that thing that open
it's weird.
for that long. Let's see here. Our friend Les from Northampton, UK,
Mm-hmm.
frequent emailer. What's the best end of level boss name? I think that Ceaseless Discharge from Demon's Souls is a main contender.
Gross.
That is pretty good.
A boss name.
Yeah,
Bald Bull.
it's pretty good. I like the arcade version of the Final Fight level 1 boss. Damned.
Damned.
Yeah, which they changed to like what, Katana, I think,
Yeah, something like that.
for the SNES release.
I like Mother Brain.
I've never beaten a game before. I have no idea.
How about
Okay.
Mecha
That's fair.
Hitler?
Mecha Hitler. That's really weird because just as you were saying that, I thought of Master D from
Oh,
from Bionic Commando, which in the Japanese release was
it was
just
Hitler.
called
Like-
Hitler,
Like
right?
that game is called like Return of Top Secret Return of Hitler or whatever
Yeah.
the fuck. Yeah, you blow up Hitler at the end of that game.
That's right.
His stupid head.
That like 3-frame animation of his head disintegrating is like burned into my memory.
Gets the point across.
Yes, he had it coming.
Yeah.
Probably all the Metal Gear bosses.
Yeah, sure.
There's a lot of good dumb
Fat Man.
Yeah. Sniper Wolf.
What'd you guys think of? I had you watch that trailer for Never Stop Sneaking on UPF.
That's a cool looking game.
Do yourself a favor and watch that trailer.
You should watch that trailer. It's a Switch exclusive, I believe.
Okay.
I spoke. It's Humble Hearts, the studio or person. I don't know if
Yeah.
he's still working by himself or he may. I don't know if he's got help on this one, but he did Dust and Elysian Tale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fantastic game.
Uh,
This is very different.
This game is extremely different. It's paying very specific homage.
It's neat. Though the character and the character abilities seem quite different.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
spoke to him a little bit briefly over the weekend about this game. Like it's more dynamically generated and run based.
Okay.
It's not a full on MGS like
Okay,
clone.
okay,
It is an action game in the style
I was
of
gonna
MGS.
say like the trailer makes it look like you're playing top down MGS1, but as Raiden,
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
but as robot fucking sword Raiden.
That thing looks cool. Like it was a very unexpected.
Yeah, it's neat.
Watch that trailer.
Yeah.
Let's see. Warren writes in from Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that there is a protein and a gene in the human body called Sonic Hedgehog?
Yes.
There is not.
Sonic
is?
Hedgehog is a
There is.
protein that in humans is encoded by the SHH or Sonic Hedgehog gene. And this is actually named after Sonic the Hedgehog.
They didn't just happen upon that at random. Weird.
One of its discoverers chose the name after his daughter brought home a comic of Sonic with her.
Not even the game.
I went to
Not
Wikipedia.
even the game.
I went to Wikipedia on this.
It's just chili dogs all day long.
Sonic Hedgehog is one of 3 proteins in the mammalian signaling pathway family called hedgehog, the others being desert hedgehog and Indian hedgehog. SHH is the best studied ligand of the hedgehog signaling pathway. It plays a key role in regulating vertebrate organogenesis, such as in the growth of digits on limbs and organization of the brain.
Is there a pill I can take to get rid of this gene from me?
You want to splice it out,
Yes.
replace it with like a
Anything.
KE gene.
Sonic Hedgehog is the best established example of a morphogen as defined by Louis Wolpert's French flag model.
Uh-huh.
A molecule that diffuses to form a concentration gradient and has different effects on the cells of the developing embryo depending on its concentration.
Yeah, no, I mean, we all know that.
SHH remains important in the adult. It controls cell division of adult stem cells and has been implicated in the development of some cancers.
So
Sonic gives
Sonic Hedgehog
cancer?
is a cancer.
No, it's going to cure
Causes,
cancer.
causes
Causes.
cancer.
But we're going to splice it and figure out how to cure
Knuckles,
cancer.
Echidna gene is gonna.
No, it's the Robotnik gene.
Oh, you're gonna get a Shadow the Hedgehog gene in there.
You put the genes on top of one another.
You get
they
s-
interlock.
Yeah.
Huh.
you
get
get some
so-
sort of a best genist.
Gets so edgy that the fucking cancers can't stick to the cells.
That's right.
Because you're too busy fucking sliding and shooting guns.
Yeah.
Just cells got to go fast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Dale.
That sucks.
Everybody's got
Yeah.
a little Sonic.
Everybody's got a little Sonic
I hate,
Hedgehog in
I
them.
hate that.
Sorry. And you like Sonic.
Yeah.
Dale from Nottingham, England. I want to know if any of you have a condiment that, when applied to a meal or sandwich, raises eyebrows. I have a friend who has mayonnaise as well as beef gravy with his French fries.
That could work.
Ooh.
People do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like that's not the I wouldn't
beef
I don't-
gravy.
I don't see a lot of people doing that around here.
Where are you going to
Wow.
get beef gravy, though?
I know a guy.
Yeah.
Poutine.
you can buy
like-
that.
Yeah, see
Any
my-
grocery store.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a little like poutine.
Can't exactly get like little packets of beef gravy at
Yeah,
McDonald's.
No.
but you know,
Maybe
gravy
you should.
fries like that's
I don't
Let's go to McDonald's and act like gigantic assholes demanding packets of beef gravy.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just tried their
It's
new signature sauce. Side note, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a little garlicky, a little
What is it?
creamy. It's the new signature sauce from McDonald's.
Okay.
Mm.
Nobody.
Uh,
Nothing-
I
Nothing
put
weird.
people
put barbecue
get,
sauce in soup, chicken noodle soup.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Sometimes
I'll put hot sauce in soup all the
Yeah.
time. That's not.
I've
Wow.
had barbecue sauce in a burrito once. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that
It
sounds
was like
like
a
a
grilled steak.
Okay. All right.
The dude, the dude the taqueria by my college was on a first name basis with me.
Okay.
And I walked in one day. He said, "You have to try this." And I asked him. I said, "Are you stoned right now?" And he said, "Yes."
It's always good when the people at the place you go to a lot start experimenting on you.
Yeah, and it was really good. I've never had it since, but I've always meant to.
Hmm.
People always look at me funny when I say that a banana and mayonnaise sandwich is really good.
That's fucked up.
Banana
Brad.
and ketchup
That's
is
weird.
good. I can't imagine banana and mayonnaise.
Oh, it's so good.
Why would you fuck up a banana like
Oh, it's
that?
good.
I don't know. Yeah, I think there's people that look at ketchup very sideways in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like ketchup.
It's fine.
I have ketchup on French fries and maybe onion rings, and that's about it.
You ever fuck with curry ketchup?
It's all right. I just don't. I don't even. I just like some basic ass fucking Heinz. Nothing.
Yeah.
Ooh, like the stuff you get with like a currywurst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that
curry
stuff.
ketchup's
Yes.
all right. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it on a burger.
It's
or,
more
you know,
narrow in
Yeah.
reach.
It's got its uses for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I'll put ketchup on a steak and people get all fucking uppity about it, and I'm just like, yeah, I see why you would get uppity about it, but also I don't give a shit.
Live your life.
But away from me, because that shit's wrong. Don't do that.
Yeah, see, it's
I think it's very
see?
presidential of you.
Oh no. Oh fuck. It's the worst thing anyone's ever said to me.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Fuck, man.
Ryan from Perth, Australia.
Mute myself on Twitter now, I guess.
Maybe you should be banned. Now that we've had a chance to play Star Fox 2, how well do you think it would have been received by critics and the general public had it been released back in the 90s? It was, what was it, 96 is when it was supposed to
Yeah,
come out?
that's what the copyright date on it was.
I feel like some people would have complained about how short it was, not really
Yeah.
understanding that
'Cause
the
people would have beaten
joy
it-
comes from multiple.
Like people would have beaten it day one, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, whatever. People beat regular Star Fox 1 day one, but
Yeah.
but I saw, or I think we even mentioned last week, I saw people saying that a successful run in that game is like 30 minutes long.
Yeah, it's not a long game when played well.
Yeah.
Um,
But there was like no, I mean, granted, this is like 20 years before this became a huge deal, but there's no like progression, right? You're not like unlocking
you're-
stuff
you're
for
kinda like
subsequent runs or anything.
You're saving Corneria and
And that's
then
it.
doing it again.
Okay.
I assume the 3D would not have been a good look at that time.
Oh yeah, at that
Yeah.
time you would have
I
looked
didn't
at
think
it.
about that, but yeah.
I don't even know if people would have been able to appreciate it as a it's
Yeah.
crazy that this is on the Super Nintendo sort of way, because it would have been this dying gasp from this system that
Yeah.
everyone's kind of moved on from.
Like that PlayStation was already out
Yeah.
for a while at that point.
Yeah,
N64 was almost out. And
Yeah,
like that would have just made that game look so dated.
you would have been looking at videos of Super Mario 64 by that point, even if it wasn't out yet,
Yeah.
and you would have been like, well, why would you do? But that I feel the same way about Donkey Kong Country in terms of like you look at it and go like, why would you look at this when this other stuff is here and coming and all this other stuff? So, I don't think it would have been appreciated in its own time. I think it would have been something that like nowadays you'd still have that feeling of like, hey, it's really crazy that they did this at all.
Yeah.
And maybe the more kind of run focused nature of it would have been not appreciated very much then, because I feel that way about like Star Fox 64, is that it felt like a very short game that demanded you to play it multiple times in multiple ways, and at that time even I was just like, I don't want to fucking do that. So sometime before that as a SNES game, I don't think it would have done all that well. I remember playing it back then and thinking like, this is really neat, and they're really expanding on it, but it's hard to get a sense of like what. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it was better this way.
Maybe.
I mean, this way we got a new Super NES game in 2017. It's so cute.
I
Fucking
bought
weird.
I bought another new Super NES game in 2017 and just got it.
Oh, you did?
I got Unholy Night.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
I want to try this.
I'll bring it in. You
Yeah,
guys,
bring it in.
you guys can play it.
Does it run on a SNES?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's rough. Like they had said like, oh hey, because of the whatever they're doing, like it runs at like a low frame rate. It just feels terrible. It's a fighting game. It's got like 6 playable characters.
Is it like a variable frame rate or
No,
like,
it's a
slow down during certain things?
No,
like
it's
certain
like
moves?
just constantly like 24 frames a second or
Really?
20
Who
or
made
something
that?
like that. It's XS&K developers got together and made a new fighting game for the SNES.
Huh.
And that's fascinating.
Yeah.
But boy,
Not great.
it's not great.
So I wonder if it gets dumped and like,
Yeah, it is out there. Yeah.
yeah, does it play at?
Yeah, could
30
you
or
run it
60?
on like
No,
an
no,
emulator
it-
and make
it-
it faster?
Oh,
or-
I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder.
You would have to speed up the game at that point. 'Cause
Ooh.
it's not like slow down and
Oh no! I just pulled up a trailer of this thing or some footage.
it's rough.
Yeah, that's ugh. You
Uh,
don't want to play a fighting game at that frame rate.
they had been selling it for like a full price or like $50 or something like that. I want to say that they were trying to kickstart it for even more than that at one point.
That's weird.
And then I just randomly ended up on its Amazon page, and it was like $26. And I was like, I'll pay that price for this game I heard was not great, but really still want to see. And
Yeah,
I
this-
got it and played it for 20 minutes. And I'm like, man,
This really looks like they're pushing the SNES further than it was meant to go.
I guess I don't know. Like, it doesn't look great though.
Well, that's what I mean. Like they're trying to do too much, and it's just like suffering.
I think they had to say like, oh, we had to make this frame rate cut because of some other stuff they were doing, but it doesn't. Wasn't worth it. I don't know. Maybe they should have pulled back in other areas because it just doesn't feel good at all. Anyway.
I will say as a quick sidebar, I played a bunch of my Super Nintendo Classic this last week,
Yep.
and
What's your game of choice?
I've been going through. I beat Super Mario World,
Yeah.
with like 16% or whatever by doing the little star warp around thing, and then I lost my progress of beating it because I hit the wrong button to save it or whatever the fuck. I hate that system.
You have to like, what is it? You have to like commit a save state
Yeah,
to
you
one of the
have to-
slots or
yeah,
something like that.
but I hit the one button that just deleted it and didn't ask like if I wanted to delete it or
It's just
anything.
like, hooray, it's gone.
Yeah,
And is
it's
that the
like a
only way
common
you can
button.
save your game? It's not like it doesn't have like the SRAM or kind of like the standard saving
so,
stuff.
So it does, but like it didn't save it when I beat the end credits. When I got to end credits, because that game is weird because it just ends and you have to like reset your
right.
console.
Yeah.
I have good news for you. Now you get to play through Super Mario World again.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'll do like a full completion run. But I the one thing it made me realize, which was sad when I was playing through Donkey Kong Country, was, man, Donkey Kong Country 2 is like better in every conceivable way than Donkey Kong Country 1. It's a shame that
That's
game's
not
not in
saying
there.
much. But
Because like you got the characters act differently, you've got the bonus levels, the level design is a lot better, the animals are like across the board. Donkey Kong Country 2.
There's a
vastly
lot more in
superior.
that second game than there was in the first one for sure.
Ben from Las Vegas. The solution to the epic Bluehole drama. Bluehole should just put a Fortnite mode into PUBG.
There you go.
Got him.
Put stuff in there and build it.
I think Epic said that they had rolled a lot of the engine improvements they had to make to allow for a 100-player game. They rolled it into the base engine, so now developers using Unreal Engine have access to that tech.
I'm sure Bluehole is super stoked considering
Almost
they
as
did
if
that
they've,
work
like,
themselves.
Yeah, almost if they've like further accelerated the process of making
Yep.
games like this.
I saw them out there touting numbers for
Yeah.
Fortnite. It's like 7 million units,
something
but
like that.
but now that you can get it for free, I don't even know what that means.
I think it was 7 million players.
Players, okay, so a lot of those are sure to be free.
Yeah. Because they had when they were as a paid only thing, they got out before any of this shit happened. I think they had hit 1 million.
Okay, yeah, it sounded like it was doing fine
Yeah.
as in its original incarnation, but now it's a whole different thing. Andrew writes in and says, Golf Story is the Tony Hawk's Underground of golf games. You walk around looking for people with challenges to move the story forward. Everyone wants you to use your sports skills to do weird non-sports tasks.
Mhm.
You you work your way up from the bottom to show off your skills in new locales. It's the same. What other sports need their own thug game?
All sports.
Every sport
Why not?
should
Yeah.
be that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Curling.
Disc golf.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Run around throwing frisbees at things to solve a bunch of
Sure.
real world problems.
Solve a mystery.
Yeah.
Solve a murder.
I think ping pong,
Disc golf mystery.
just like trick shots. Oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
like a door that only opens if you hit 2 buttons within a certain time frame. You have to line up a trick
Yeah.
shot with a ping pong ball to get it to.
Oh man, that sounds good.
I think I might be burning out a little bit on Golf Story,
Yeah.
just because like the time you get to a main quest line, which is like play 9 holes of golf, it's like I've been playing golf for everything else in this game, man. Like
It's a lot of golf.
it's a lot of golf, and it's like not hard. I don't know,
Hmm.
and the humor's not really sticking.
Oh no.
I don't know.
I
Cool.
still really want to play that. Paul in Toronto. Can you explain something to a Canadian?
No.
I've
By
tried.
law, I'm not allowed to.
It's about you go ow.
Mhm.
Just think like ow, I hurt my foot. That's in a boot, which is the other thing I say.
It's a beanie.
Also, it's sorry.
Yeah.
What are chicken fried and steak fried steak? Is it chicken? Is it steak? Is it both? Also, how are waffles involved?
Start again. All right. So chicken fried.
What are chicken fried and steak fried steaks?
Okay,
chicken
so
fried steak and steak fried
A
steak.
chicken fried steak is a steak that you bread and batter like it was fried chicken
Yes.
Yes.
and then fry it,
And
right?
it's flank steak.
Yeah, it's a
It's a
thin
specific.
cut.
It's a specific
yeah.
cut of meat, right? Or
Uh,
cube steak, something like that.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
It's like it's like yay big.
And very, it's
and
pretty
very flat.
thin and flat.
And then you put a bunch of gravy on it.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Good hangover
steak
food.
Fried steak is just a fried steak.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that
I don't
one.
know that
That's like
exists.
I've
yeah.
ordered that by mistake, thinking it was chicken fried steak,
Mm.
and was
And
like,
it's just
"Aw."
it's just fried steak
Yeah.
with no breading.
No, it's got bread.
There's like what is it, Milanesa?
I don't fucking know.
I think steak Milanesa is like steak fried steak. They do it in Italian and Mexican food a lot.
Okay.
I think it's just like a fry. Yeah, like it's just
They fried a steak.
it makes it a little crispier, and you eat like have a certain sauce with it that goes well.
Mm.
I don't think chicken and waffles is different though.
Yes,
Yeah,
I've
that's not
never
related
seen
to
anybody combine a chicken fried like chicken fried steak and waffles. Sounds like some kind of next level bad idea.
Yeah, that is some fucking
No,
like
it's a
good
disregard for life
Yeah,
type shit.
like that's not
Yo.
that's hazardous to your health.
Yo, you got Eggos at home? You got
yes.
chicken nuggets at home?
No.
You fucking heat up 2 chicken nuggets.
Well, that's
toast
chicken.
that waffle.
That's chicken.
I
kind
know.
of.
I'm, just
talking about
saying that
steak.
this is a magical thing that you do. Oh,
I'm talking about
But
beef
steak
chicken.
is different.
I'm talking about beef and
doesn't
waffle.
go with
Like a
the waffle
taco.
the same way.
But
beef and
chicken and a waffle.
beef and waffles not it's not advisable.
I had the new Taco Bell crispy chicken quesadilla,
Yeah.
which is just a Taco Bell quesadilla with chicken nuggets in it.
Oh.
It's basically got like a chicken fried chicken inside of the quesadilla.
What? All right.
It wasn't crispy, but it was good.
Oh, is this their chicken shell technology?
Yes, it's like part of a chicken shell in a quesadilla.
Fucking weirdos.
Have you seen the egg shell?
No.
They made a breakfast taco, and the shell is all made out of egg, and it just looks like a fried egg. It just
Oh.
comes in
Don't
like a
know how
paper wrapper.
I don't know about that.
Too much egg.
Because also I feel like the Taco Bell breakfast stuff has been abysmal every time I've gotten near it.
Breakfast
So-
Crunchwrap's not bad.
Hmm.
That's the only one. The rest are bad.
I feel like I got
But
their like
but
the
yeah, you-
waffle taco or whatever the fuck they were selling. It was just
You
like,
fold it up like a
ooh.
taco, right? You got the nuggets in there.
I believe
hot
you.
sauce
Oh,
on
I
it.
full-
Sometimes they'll take a slice of Swiss cheese.
I mean, that's chicken and waffles. That is fully acceptable.
Oh, so good.
I'd totally get behind that.
Swiss cheese is the worst cheese.
Shut up.
Oh, I don't know about that. No.
Like, okay, there are
not my-
worse cheeses, but it's the worst common cheese.
The worst mainstream cheese.
Oh,
you
I-
like those underground cheeses?
I think American cheese is way worse than Swiss cheese.
It melts so
way
good.
worse.
It
Oh.
melts just.
I like
Oh.
most of the mainstream cheeses
Yeah.
and tend to not like fancy cheeses.
What is a fancy cheese in your world?
Like a goat cheese.
Yeah.
goat
My,
cheese is
my
good.
level is like
It's
a
okay.
Gouda. Like,
yeah.
that's as like
Gouda is usually not.
that's as high as they'll go.
The stinkier, the better.
I don't know that I can like visualize what Gouda is.
Kind of a smoky.
Okay.
white cheese.
My French heritage was I spent every year growing up around stinky cheese at dinner on Christmas and Thanksgiving. So now I just can't get enough of it.
I like a good brie.
Brie is a
Yeah.
good one.
Double cream, triple cream. What are you guys talking
I don't
about?
know.
I don't know.
I don't know
with
the
the
difference.
hardened shell. And I gotta,
Whatever.
like,
Yeah,
carve
I don't-
out the-
whatever's like
You ever
$6
had that
at the
Mount
Safeway.
Tam? Oh, you ever go to Cowgirl Creamery there?
No.
Get the Mount Tam?
No.
Ooh.
I've never had specialty brie.
All right.
I don't like. I think part of it is like I don't know enough about the world of cheese and how deep it goes. But I've been places and like had a cheese plate presented and been like randomly bummed out by 3 of the 4 cheeses.
Really?
And not really knowing even what they are. It's been like some cheese is fucked up.
Yeah.
Cheese is good.
It's a problem.
It's all
You ever
mush.
eat that cheese with the ash in it?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's all cheese.
I mean, I never know if I'm supposed to eat like the rind on the brie, but
You can.
you were
You totally can.
you
Yeah.
totally can. I do.
yeah.
I don't. Scrape that shit off.
Mozzarella is good.
Yeah.
Mozzarella's good.
I
By
just
the
learned that
handful.
pepper jack.
Oh, pepper jack's
Pepper
good.
jack is new in my life, and
Oh,
I
really?
really appreciate it.
Oh, man,
yeah.
we keep
That's
pepper
great.
jack on hand frequently
Good.
at home.
Thanks for whoever emailed in their cheese question.
Yeah. Let's talk cheese. Talk cheese all day
I'm
long.
getting turkey. I've been getting peppered turkey sandwiches with
Mhm.
pepper jack on it.
Ooh, that's a lot of pepper. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's different kinds of pepper.
Yeah.
To be fair. Andy from Syracuse, New York. Was Storage Wars nothing more than televised Loot Crate opening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of.
So-
But they let you see inside it before you bid.
Oh.
Well, I mean, that's like the Dodo ones, right?
Right, yeah.
It shows you these are the things that could be in this chest.
Oh,
the
you're
whole
right.
thing about the auctions is that they would open the thing up and then you would not be able to step
You can't, like,
inside
touch
it.
it, right?
You couldn't touch it, but you could lean in and try to look around and get a sense of what was in there.
Sure.
And then them's the rules.
Did people develop their strategies for like leaning as far over the line as possible? And
I think they all just kind of would lean in as best they could.
Yeah, okay.
I bet I could
Some
have
of
been a
them were-
valuable asset. In
Yeah,
the,
some of them were a little more rotund than others,
Mm,
and so they were not great leaners.
I see. You can't touch the floor.
No, I don't think you could even put a foot in.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if I fell?
Then you own it? Then you have to probably. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Anybody-
Oh!
Are there any crazy like antique roadshow style like super valuable finds in that show?
Yeah, but
People ever find anything like totally insane?
yes, but like half of it seems like it's planted.
Yeah.
Or it's
hard
hard
to
to know.
distinguish.
It's hard to know.
Yeah.
That show felt pure once,
Okay.
and then I don't think it is.
What's the biggest Antiques Roadshow reveal you ever saw?
Oh well, I mean, I just Googled
Sure,
the
but
top
like,
10.
you ever just like watch an
that,
episode
like
and
that,
see
like
a-
that jade bowl set from like an ancient Chinese dynasty that was like $1 million. It's
crazy.
like
Oh.
by far the biggest one.
I saw like some
Uh,
cabinet that was $250,000
Wow,
once.
damn, that's big.
Yeah.
To just have it on and see that. That's
yeah.
fucking huge.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
It was like my mom watched it a lot, and so I was just like, oh, I was like,
yeah,
I
man.
was
Like
popping off.
anything that's into 5 figures is just like a holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like even 4 figures is a pretty big deal on that show.
The guy had this like super wry smile the whole time he was telling them about it.
he knew what was coming.
Oh yeah,
And it's a cabinet.
yeah.
Who thinks a cabinet is going to be $250,000?
It was like owned by Thomas Jefferson or something.
All right. Couple more emails real fast. This is from Morgan. Your recent talk about early podcasts and the hotspot reminded me of a great tragedy of our time. Back in 2012, I got really into listening to random old episodes of the hotspot. I bookmarked a handy page that had a link to every episode so I could listen at my leisure. A year or so later, I returned to the bookmark and saw that all of the links were now broken. Does GameSpot still have that podcast archived somewhere? And if so, is there any official way Giant Bomb might be able to release them as some sort of audio time capsule? P.S. One of my favorite things in recent memory is hearing Jeff and Greg Kasavin's first impressions of the Wii and the Wiimote. I guess those files are
So
still
yeah,
there.
so at one point I got access to an FTP server that is full. It's like the GameSpot CDN.
Yeah.
And so it is full of videos from that time frame. And there's a podcast directory that I grabbed,
Oh, you have, so you have it?
and it's sitting on the desktop of my laptop
Huh.
for the last 3 years
Yeah.
or something.
Is that the full run?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But
Because I know I've been on that FTP too, and it seemed a little scattershot.
it's fucking
It's
crazy.
kind of a
It is a
mess.
fucking
It's
garbage
kind of a
fire.
mess.
And that's just, because no one ever uploaded them directly to that FTP to get them there. It was an automated process that created directories and subdirectories and all this other stuff. And for some reason, there's videos from some fucking cooking site on there too. like just 4 or 5 here and there.
Sure.
And I don't know. Some of them are like the low quality, like real media versions, and not the fucking subscriber only MOVs. And so it's crazy. But I fished like the BMX XXX video review out of there not too long ago.
Okay.
And some other shit. The thing I'd say is go to archive.org. I think they're all there. I think someone uploaded the full run of the hotspot there, or at least a whole lot of them. Archive.org doing some great work in terms of keeping shit on the internet.
So I hear.
I guess. So what happened to those old links? Just like the CDN changed or something?
The site
GameSpot
redesigned
has been redesigned so many times.
Yeah, and every redesign breaks. You know, it used to be every feature on GameSpot was hand built by a designer.
Yes,
and so you know, like behind the scenes of Metal Gear Solid 2, or you know, like the final last hour,
my history of Metal Gear, I think, is long gone at this point.
And so every time the site got redesigned, like those pages were designed for the current layout of the site.
Gotcha.
So, you know, when people are redesigning the site, they don't care about the old pages.
Yeah, or it's just too much work to go back and resurrect every individual feature, because they all had like hand coded or hard coded links.
Yeah,
like links built by hand, and that stuff would break every redesign.
Yeah, so all those features are long gone.
Yeah.
But then also certain videos, like it's that BMX XXX video review, like that review is still on the website, but at some point they broke all their old videos as part of some redesign.
I didn't
so like
know
if you go and push play on that video, it doesn't play.
Oh no, I thought anything like database driven would still be there.
No, that stuff is that's why that FTP is good, because you can pull those files off and then theoretically you could re-upload them and fix them on the site and stuff like that. I did not do that for the BMX Triple. I don't know that I have the right access to GameSpot to do that. I might. Anyway. So yeah, that stuff is out there. I just like a couple of weeks ago saw a page on archive.org that had a whole lot of them, and I went and listened to just like a couple of seconds of the first episode I was not on. And was like, oh, yeah, right. I never listened to any of this stuff. And then I was like, but I also don't want to listen to it now either. So, yeah, that stuff is there.
All right, that's good to know. It was just kind of lost to time.
I ended up sending, I mentioned on Twitter that I had that stuff, and Brian Eckberg reached out and said, like, I did a sports podcast, and it's all gone. And it's like, I got you, man. They're all right here. I sent it to him.
That's awesome. I thought all that stuff was scattered to the wind like so many game spottings.
It kind of is. Yeah, like that's I want to find the Cooking with Tim stuff.
All those video game spottings.
Yeah,
like that video game haiku corner is an all-time classic.
I think I still have the raw footage from that somewhere that Tim sent me. But I want the fighting game one. There's specifically a bit in that where I think Brian comes in and reads, like he has this long-winded sentence that mentions a bunch of fighting games in context of just, I'm going to challenge you to Mortal Kombat. And then at the end of it, it's just this pause. It's perfect fucking timing on his part. And he goes, Tekken. And that's the only part I remember that whole video, but I would like to see that.
We had fun.
Occasionally, when they weren't looking,
once in a while,
we would have some okay times.
I used to have that Billy Hatcher haiku memorized. Do you remember it?
No, not at all. But that stuff might be sitting in my Dropbox.
Eggs good for eating. But, oh God, it's the second line.
Yeah.
But not so much video games. Stick to Sonic, please.
That's a bad thing to wish for, as it turns out.
I'm pretty sure that was the Billy Hatcher haiku.
Yeah.
All right. Justin from Connecticut writes in with an email about Schrodinger's barrel. Sonic, Yoshi, and Poplio are in a barrel about to go down a waterfall. You have a chance to save them, but you have to save all three. What do you do?
They all die.
Even Poplio?
I would sacrifice Poplio for that.
Poplio wouldn't die in a waterfall.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Oh, yeah.
Away.
Maybe he'll make it out unscathed.
Poplio is not a character. Poplio is a species.
Oh, that's
so
true.
there'd be more Poplios.
Wait, isn't that true of Yoshi as well?
Yoshi's a capital Y Yoshi. He has his own island.
Okay.
So if other Yoshis survived, but the character Yoshi made it, like got whacked,
okay,
that furthers my goals.
I see. Also, Sonic, as we know, does not do well underwater.
True. But he could probably jump off of Yoshi
to
safety.
Yeah.
I'd save him.
We should intervene. Yeah, someone will be happy about it.
Answering the tough moral questions on this podcast. Bombcast@giantbomb.com. We should get out of here. but it's
Yeah.
smoky out there too.
Yeah.
Although actually, like, I don't smell it anymore, which means either
Which
we've been
means
sitting in it too
you've
long,
adjusted, yeah.
Yeah.
or
We've already passed out.
or they found a way to ventilate the building
All right.
in a good
It's
way.
been a live stream of us laying face down on this
Yeah.
table.
Yeah, we're gonna not have an after show this week
That's right.
on account of my throat doesn't work so well.
Yeah.
After inhaling all that smoke, I'm surprised we're still here.
Yeah.
I do feel gurgly.
Yeah, I'm in a pretty bad way over here. Eyes and throat wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But,
Well, on that note,
We'll be back. We
As
got
we all
some
develop-
stuff planned.
as we all
Evil
develop
Within 2 comes out this week.
yeah, you're gonna take a look at
I'm gonna
that.
dive into that.
Yeah. I see some good buzz about that. Like,
Yeah.
people watching. I mean, it's based on trailers and stuff, but people seem that first game
Yeah.
had promise. The new game from the guy who made Resident Evil 4,
Oh yeah.
One of my
Was
10
a
favorite video
big
games of all
deal.
time.
but it didn't quite pan out. So hopefully this one is better. Yeah, whatever. We got all kinds of stuff going on this week.
Yeah.
Go see Blade Runner.
I hear Blade Runner is quite good.
Ooh,
It
yeah.
is fantastic.
I hear no one is seeing Blade Runner. Also.
Yeah, I know.
I saw it made like 80 million over the weekend.
really?
And that was
Okay.
just a bunch of bullshit headlines about the day one.
Like Friday, yeah.
like the day
Friday
one-
it had terrible numbers.
Okay.
the
and
day
then it
one
managed
gross
to-
was awful, and then it totally made it up over
it's
the
back.
weekend. So
I feel like every single person I saw talking about it was like, I saw it in a half full theater. I saw it and there was no one there. And like,
Ooh,
it
that
seems
sounds
like
great.
A lot of stuff
maybe I
like
will
that.
go see it.
Right.
I saw it. Yeah, 2D IMAX. It was not. There were still tickets available.
Is there
for
anywhere
sure.
to stream original Blade Runner in a good way?
Yeah.
Like, I
there's
haven't seen it
gotta
in 20,
be.
15
Probably
years.
iTunes.
But it depends on the version.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what it. That's the thing. I don't
Is
even.
that what? Do you want the? Was it the final?
You want
cut?
the
Is that
final-
one you
well,
actually
for the
want?
longest time, I think it was the director's cut you wanted, but then he came along and did a new cut like a year or two ago.
I will say that this movie
It's like
kind of
3 or 4
goes off of the final cut.
And that's
ending.
the one.
Yeah.
That's the one he did recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh wait, did they change the ending in that one?
Well, it's a little less ambiguous.
Did they
How
did
about
they
that?
fucking address the longstanding question?
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
wait,
they spelled
which-
it out.
The is Deckard
Deckard?
a replicant or not? Like
They
was
spelled it
that
out.
was that the whole point of that cut? Was to answer
I
that
think so.
question? Really?
I think so.
Huh. Okay.
Anyway.
So that's the one you should see
Yeah, that's the one.
before you see. Okay.
And you know what? I don't even know that it's necessary to have a rewatch of that movie. Like Deckard returns in
Okay. Well, I
2049, but
remember next to nothing about. I kind of would just like to see Blade Runner.
Like that's
True.
that's the thing is I saw it when I was not, I don't know. I
Yeah.
saw it super young and
If you
remember
kinda know the
basically
s-
nothing about it.
if you kind of remember the story beats, you'll
Barely.
you'll be fine.
barely.
Okay.
I think he drinks.
Just play near.
Does he drink whiskey at one point?
Sure, he loves whiskey.
Sean Young is in it. That's about all I got.
Just play near through
Okay.
completion.
All right.
Okay.
And then you'll
Which
have
ending?
Wait, the
All
first one or the
endings?
new one?
the new one.
Okay.
Because androids.
Same stuff. Okay.
Probably the same thing.
All right.
Blade
That's
Runner ending B is gonna blow your mind.
cool. All right. Maybe we'll go do that.
Should.
I bet movie theaters are nicely ventilated
Oh, I bet.
and air conditioning or air
Hmm.
conditioned. Let's go do that. All right. We're gonna get out of the studio. We'll see you later this week with a bunch more stuff, and next week for another podcast. See you then.